Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's God killing a house. And I'm coming to do what I got to do, and I'm going to do what I got to do. Standing tall, standing strong. Hey, Bobby banging this bitch. It's good, family. Y'all know what it is, man. Y'all see the show title, man. Start y'all off with this.
Fantastic people, and we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He came in, and he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby.
Other than that, go ahead and have a good time. To hell with the health of marginalized communities, because we know communities got money. They're not listening to none of that. They get sick, man, they got their thing all squared away. It's those marginalized communities. It's those black males that don't use the system enough. Health. Don't get their regular checkups. They play this pseudo game with the supplements and the foolery and the anti-vaccine rhetoric and all the nonsense. We'll be sending their kids to school while Bobby is having fun. Man, boy, I tell you, man. Yeah, we're here tonight, man. I appreciate everybody coming through, man. We're going to drop that link early and often, man. Welcome to the community skeptics, man. You'll see what it is. Atheism, Irreligion. Atheism. And Agnosticism. I can't say that right. Agnostic. I don't know what the hell it is. I'm gonna get that right, man. Let me get that right, man. Watch this. I'm gonna get that right, man. Take the G out. Get that right for y'all before we even get going.
Agnosticism.
Yeah, agnosticism. Yeah, they have it. Messing that up, man. We go ahead and get into this, man. I'm gonna drop that link, man, so we can have this healthy discussion, man. There will be no cussing people out.
Bobby banger from the block, seen it all raw, tough. Streets of Baltimore where survival's always rough. Joined the Marines fighting for a life he could save. But back in the hood, he felt like a runaway slave. Started an army, not of guns but of wisdom. I'm a rock squad, truth the anthem, we ain't just a God killer. Bobby banger on his path for the truth. Empower the people, give them wisdom as the proof. Black power rising, knowledge shines like a light. He's fighting for the future, ready to ignite. Selling drugs on the corner just to put food on plates, but deep in his heart, he knew he had greater fates. From the traps to the lab, he fights ignorance raw, teaching evolution while shaking up the law. The real black atheist is changing the game, waking up minds, never the same. God killer Bobby banger on his path for the truth, empower the people.
Hey, what's going on, people, man? I appreciate you, man. Man, never one of them powerful bangers, man. We just came over from Sosa's world, man. Where the religious people get a break. We don't play that break over here, man. It's your words that will give you a break. It's the way you execute your conversations, man. What's going on, everybody, man? See, we got somebody early on the panel. What's going on, Joe? How you doing?
Peace, peace,
No
peace
Christian.
to the family. I'm gonna warn you now, if you trap me in a corner,
I'm not
I'm
gonna.
gonna plead the fifth.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put you like that.
FIF. I'm
Yeah,
gonna plead
I'm
the
not gonna do you
fifth.
like that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I don't believe you. I think you luring me in. You're trying to hook me.
I'm not gonna do you like that. I don't want to do you like that. No, I have empathy for you in the world you live in. I like, you know what I'm saying? Then everybody got their
It's
own
a
mind
new
of people.
world. It's a new world. This man said he has empathy for the
Empathy
Christian.
for you.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I actually do, bro. So I ain't tripping off
Hey,
that,
does that
man.
mean you're not a full horseman no more? You're not a full horseman no more then.
What? I never even got off into them. I always was looking at the, like Hubert Harrison, Dr. Ben, John Jackson. They was my favorite atheists. I never, what I mean, I did something called the Four Horsemen. Right? I'm gonna see
Okay,
if I
so
can
you're not a
find that
rapper.
video. Yeah, I've
You're not
always
a
was on
rapper.
that.
Okay, all right, I
Yeah, I was
got you.
always dealing with,
So is that Cedric? Is Cedric a full horseman then?
yeah, I mean, I ain't get my atheism from white people. I got mine from, from my own community where I had a lot of non-believers. My uncles and them read a lot of books. My father, right? So, and then it was real liberal around our household as far as church go. Ain't nobody believe that like that. So, everybody went to church, but it was just different, man. So it
Yeah,
is.
see, if you got it from the African American community, they're gonna do it in a way where they have empathy because they know a lot of people are affected by it. A lot of people depend on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like you gotta walk people out of this thing carefully and get them well educated. So
And you know what, man? That might be the issue. We always need pillars. We need some
yes,
pillars or
no,
something.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Everybody remembers the kid. What was his name? Linus on the
Yeah, the blanket.
Charlie Brown and yeah, man. He needed that blanket. That was his comfort. And that thing is real in a lot of minds of people. And that's why I said on social show, if we are willing to discuss the why, why do people believe? Rather than discussing if there is a God, we might be able to get somewhere.
I
That's my
think
position I'm standing on.
we got 1.1 billion atheists mixed in with irreligious, mixed in with
Unbelievable.
agnostics.
Them numbers sound balloon.
1.1 billion, 2.1 billion Christians, and 1.1 billion Muslims, and then everybody else. So we're there. We're in the game. God damn it, we're in the game. We're in the game. You know what? I'd like to say this before I open up the panel. When I see we got some official pseudo killers and we got people in the pseudo killer army, we got everybody coming through. I see Ron, I see Savion, Cedric, everybody. Gonna have a nice, healthy show. One rule though, we won't cut each other off and we won't give us a damn lecture neither. I'm the only one allowed to give lectures. Outside of that, man, we want a nice, healthy conversation to get your thing on. You know what I'm saying? We want everybody to hear the information. I think it's important. What I will tell you is this. I would like to start off with this, right? I would like to acknowledge this, that atheism and, am I saying it right? Agnosticism. How you say that? Right?
Yeah,
Agnosticism and Gnosticism. I said it right, right? Is a philosophical stance. Okay. All right. And let me go to ChatGPT. Let's see. Both atheism and agnosticism are often considered philosophical stances, though they approach the question of belief in God or gods differently. That's my point. That's why I use both of them as tools, right? They say atheism. This is the lack of belief in gods or deities. Philosophically, atheism can be understood in various ways. Strong atheism, the explicit belief that no gods exist, often supported by arguments against theism, such as the problem of evil, the lack of empirical evidence of deities, or the philosophical concept of unnecessarily complexity. Okay? Stuff like Occam's razor. Weak atheism. This is simply the absence of belief in gods, not necessarily a claim that gods do not exist, but rather that there is insufficient evidence to justify the belief in them, Agnosticism. This philosophy centers around the idea that the existence or non-existence of gods is unknown or unknowable. Agnostics believe that human beings cannot obtain knowledge about certain metaphysical or theoretical claims, particularly about the existence or of a deity. It can be further divided into strong agnosticism, the belief that it is impossible for humans to know whether gods exist. Weak agnosticism, the belief that the existence of gods is unknown, but not necessarily unknowable, suggesting that further knowledge or evidence could provide an answer. Both atheism and agnosticism are philosophical positions because they deal with the fundamental question about knowledge, belief, and existence. Atheism tends to be more focused on belief or lack therein, while agnosticism is more focused on the limits of knowledge and certainly regarding divine existence. So what say the panel? Joe, you just heard that breakdown, right? I'm not asking y'all where y'all fit at in that because you might have some family
I
watching.
didn't even hear myself in it.
Huh?
I would have to. I didn't even hear myself in it. I don't know what I'm hearing. Like I would have to tell you. Like so. Let me just tell me. All right. So here's me. I believe in God. Right. I
Uh-huh.
believe in God.
Fine.
Um. I had and within my mental, I feel like, there's that possibility that God could be there. I don't have any proof.
Mhm.
Like if somebody say to me, "Well, do you know God is there?" I'm gonna say no, right? I'm gonna say no because I
Mhm.
don't. I don't. There's no test that I can point you to that would show that there is a God. I just believe it. It's in me, you know. And
Mhm.
so that's where I'm at. I don't like so from what I said there. I don't know where I fit in those characterizations that you just read.
Cedric?
Well, based on the definitions, of course, I'm a hard atheist, and my atheism is rooted in methodological naturalism. There's a philosophical underpinning that grounds my atheism. Also, skepticism forms a fundamental aspect of my worldview, and within that, you 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 tend to lean towards strong atheism because of the claims made for God. So we argue the claims made for God based on their validity, both philosophically and based on methodological naturalism. So that's my stance. My stance on God. I'm a hard atheist.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that I'm going to acquiesce to that straw man, which means we go around proclaiming our atheism and actively engaging in a fight against the concepts of God. That would be anti-theism, and anti-theism has a more political wing to it because of, for example, Christian nationalism in the United States. Outside of the United States, you would not have many anti-theists because religion doesn't form a core fundamental of societies. There's more often a separation of church and state.
I see you. Ron, where you at? Mr. Ron Perkins. How you doing,
Hey,
brother?
I'm here. I'm here.
You heard
Hey,
what we
how's
just
everybody
read.
doing?
We doing pretty good.
Good, good.
Glad to
See,
have you
that's
on the show.
great. It's good to be here. This topic seems to be gaining more and more steam every day, so it's a good thing. So-
Choo
but
choo.
yeah, it's like that
Oh
runaway
man.
train. Hey,
Oh
but
man.
as you know, I'm not a religious guy, but I do adhere to intelligent design,
Mm-hmm.
but not the classical in the classical sense of the word. For me, I don't when the intelligent design people, when the proponents of it, the leaders in this field talk about this stuff, they're basically talking about their Christian God being the intelligent designer, where I disagree with that. So I adhere to, like, there's an intelligence to the universe. The universe, it shows intelligence, at least it looks like it's intelligent to me.
Mhm.
And so I go with that, basically using, as you said in your definition about Occam's razor, seems to be pretty clear. And I like what you also read when you said that the evidence, let's see, what did you say? The evidence of absence?
I didn't say
The
that.
absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. I like that because we all should take that point uh, and hold that to our core. Just because we don't have evidence for something doesn't mean that it's absent. It just means that there's no evidence at the moment. So
Uh,
Mhm.
I like what you read about that. So I appreciate it.
Mhm.
with
Whoa,
regards
whoa,
to
whoa, we got one more person on the panel. Hold on. Everybody slow it down. Where you at? Hold on, let me get him in here. Hold on.
Who, me?
Yeah, yeah. What's going on, Sabio? AK the Wolverine.
What up?
What up,
You
man?
know, uh, I'm an anti-theist, and I push against all forms of religion, especially
Mm-hmm.
the Abrahamic faiths, because they have co-opted the minds of millions of people to make them believe that there's some deity that sat up in the mountain that created the world in 6 days, spoke it into existence, created a woman from a man's rib, made a snake talk to her, and sin entered the world. And now we need to be saved by him and his son that he sent to die for him for our sins, that he sent him to die, even though Jesus didn't want to die. And now we gotta somehow make amends to this nonsense. This is the reason why I fight against all these deities, creators, ideas, gods, because it's what humans have done throughout our existence. If lions could make gods, they would have lion gods. If elephants could make gods, it'll be elephant gods. Humans are
Mm-hmm.
the only ones that can make their thoughts concrete and give them some type of agency. And because we did not understand the wind, the lightning, crops, floods, storms, we created ideas to help us cope with the world. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Brother Sosa,
So
Is there?
did you hear what I read how they're both philosophical stances? Was you here for that?
No, I'm already familiar with that. I'm already there with
Okay,
it.
so what do you think about that? I read both definitions and
Of
yeah, we did
agnostic.
we. Mm-hmm. Agnostic. I
Yeah,
said that right. Mm-hmm.
yeah, agnostic. Yeah. So you got to know that I'm an agnostic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's sort of variation between different agnostic, but basically, in a nutshell, I hold a position that the existence non-existence of God is unknowable. You know what I'm saying? So it's more of a philosophical position that stands on the limitation of human knowledge. You know what I mean? So that's where I am with it. So I don't, you know what I mean? I think that the idea of knowing what God is or the existence of God is just unknowable. So just simply in a nutshell, and if we get into a conversation, I expand further. But just to sum it up, that's what my position is.
all
Okay.
right.
Hold
So
on, hold.
can we?
Cedric was next. Cedric was
Oh,
next.
okay.
Cedric, go ahead,
Oh,
Cedric. You were gonna say something.
and philosophically, that position it's inherent. Again, we understand and know where these ideas come from. They are human constructs. So to say we cannot understand and comprehend these human constructs is inherent. And then to make that claim, that means you're rejecting the claims of knowledge made by those in theism. So you're rejecting the claims because they're claims of knowledge. You reject those claims, so you don't believe those claims. And these claims can all be examined because they're human constructs. So the position of knowledge is inherent based on the fact that we know that these ideas come out of the minds of human, and certainty is not a requirement for knowledge.
Mm.
Depends on the type. Well, let somebody else go. Depends on the type of knowledge you're trying to acquire. If you're talking about certain knowledge, what it would be called a justified belief, then no. right? Because there's certain levels of knowledge you can have, but within the scope of knowledge you have what's called true knowledge, right? So within the realm of true knowledge, certainty, it's certainty is required. So like, religion, in terms of religion, hold on. So in terms of religion, not religion, in terms of like science is in essence knowledge and justified beliefs. That's what science is. It's a collection of knowledge and justified beliefs.
I don't want to really divert down the science road, but I partially agree with you on that. But I wanted to bring up was this concept of God, because that word is too arbitrary. Gods are like dogs. They will answer to a name. And in order to call a God, you have to know you have to know the name of that God. So which God are we talking about? Are we talking about Quetzalcoatl? Are we talking about Unkulu? Are we talking about Oludumarwe? Are we talking about Yahweh? Are we talking about El? Are we talking about Inky and Lil? Or all the gods? The creator?
Talking about all of them. They all fall into the same category. Imagination.
Exactly. And at that point, that's why when you say God to me, it's a non-starter conversation. Because at this point, you could be talking about a flying unicorn.
Exactly. And again,
Exactly.
to claim that we cannot have knowledge of what comes out of the minds of humans. How?
No, nobody's saying you can't have knowledge. Nobody's saying you can't have knowledge what comes out of the minds of the human, but in terms of but there's limitations within the knowledge that you can acquire outside the minds of humans. So even within the scope of imagination, you know that in order for us to have it, humans must have wrote it. But you know what I mean? But you cannot establish how much of it was based off imagination, meaning not in the realm of reality, you feel me, or a real experience, which is subjective, which is an agnostic position. A lot of shit is subjective.
So even the real experience, no one is negating the reality of the experience, but that doesn't at no point quantify as the inability to examine the claim or the validity of it, right? So it's your worldview is how you're going to examine a particular claim. And from the moment there's an experience, we can examine that experience. So again, there is always the ability to attain knowledge with regards to these claims because they are not outside of the realm of nature. They're human constructs.
What stopped you from making a definitive answer?
I don't need to make a definitive answer.
No,
that is not necessary for knowledge. Like
I know it's not. We already went to that.
I don't need to make a definitive answer.
Do you agree that there's different degrees of knowledge, right? And you can have within knowledge, you have what's called a justified beliefs. Well, okay, within a justified belief, which can be perceived as knowledge, a justified belief can then turn out to be incorrect. So that knowledge,
true justified belief. There's also true justified belief that is substantiated, right? And within that realm, fallibilism exists, but you do not need certainty to have knowledge.
You said true justified belief. I mean, justified belief is the same. You're not going to put a true in front of it. It's just justified belief.
Yes.
Same.
And we understand fallibilism.
Then you have what's called true knowledge, right? Right, true knowledge, right? Because one of the reasons that they started making.
What's the philosophical definition of true knowledge?
True knowledge, basically, we're talking about certainty. Knowledge only gained through certainty, right? But one of the reasons that they made room for knowledge to expand is because basically we're saying if knowledge was only left with certainty, then that would make all the scientific endeavors basically would say that we didn't know anything. It is not
a standard that is applied.
Let me finish the thing. So, right, if the litmus test was certainty, so within the scientific realm, you have a realm, not a realm, a levels of certainty, levels of probability, right? So within the theory, you have a justified belief. So a justified belief is just a body of information, which is that knowledge that's justified for us to make this conclusion. We have facts, we have justified belief, which is good enough evidence to substantiate what we consider to be knowledge, which is a scientific theory, which is different from true knowledge, which is based strictly on certainty.
I pull it up just to be accurate. Okay. In philosophy, true knowledge is often defined as justified true belief. Okay. In traditional definition, dating back to Plato, it had been the foundation of much of Western epistemology. However, philosophical inquiry into knowledge goes far deeper, especially regarding what it means for a belief to be true, justified, and whether certainty or fallibility should factor into our understanding of knowledge. Here's a breakdown of key components of defining true knowledge. Justified true belief. Traditional knowledge has been defined as a belief that is both true and justified. Belief, the person must believe the proposition. True, the proposition must be true. Justified, the person must have a valid reason or evidence for the belief. This means that simply holding a true belief isn't enough for knowledge. The belief must be justified by evidence or reason. Then you have the Gettier problem. In 1962, philosopher Edmund Gettier.
The Gettier problem is the reason that we establish all the levels for knowledge. So what type of knowledge requires certainty? Is a question.
None.
What type of knowledge requires certainty?
None.
I'm not following that based on the fact.
In philosophy, true knowledge typically combines justified belief with truth. But what counts as justification and truth varies across theories. Whether true knowledge acquires certainty is a matter of debate. Many modern philosophers accept fallibilism, viewing knowledge as a problem without absolute certainty. Philosophical discussion about knowledge often grapple with how to define and obtain it in any way that restrains to error, grounded in reliable methods and practical applicability. So again, the modern standard is no longer absolute. That is not a philosophical position that is held at no point across the board.
But
so
before we went there, though, I explained that. I'm saying said it before I went there. I already explained what the modern standard is now, right? And the modern standard is where it is because of the Gettier, right? That's why That's why the modern standard is what it is. So there's levels of knowledge. That's
right.
all I'm saying.
So in philosophy today, true justified belief is the standard.
I think
fallibilism is the grounding of philosophy today. They have disregarded the position of absolute knowledge.
I think we're
I
arguing
don't know
over
where the
something.
level is.
Infallibilism.
I think y'all arguing over something that y'all really shouldn't be, because what y'all saying is y'all both saying similar things. What I think y'all should be focusing on is the levels of knowledge, like the different levels of knowledge, and how do these different levels of knowledge affect people's beliefs and things like that.
You know what? While we had this discussion, I have a map up here, and I want y'all to look at this damn map. So, non-religious populations by country. Look at the map of Africa.
You know Ron is in there, right?
Yeah, Ron's right here.
Yeah, Ron's non-religious.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know about I don't know about
what that means.
I'm not sure. I don't think the intelligent design fit in that.
Ron is non-religious, bro.
I don't think that. The intelligent design is
Keep going.
I don't think that's fit. Let me finish my point though. Finish my point.
Intelligent design is religious.
Yeah, let me finish. Yeah, that's definitely religion. Let me finish my
in your
point.
mind. But anyway,
If you look at the map right here, we see Africa. We see these areas in the world where there's high levels of poverty, right? Okay, but they have high levels, right, of religion. I mean, there's no balance there. There's no checks and balances there. It's very so we know they're there, but they don't seem to have a voice, right? And this is by by population. But just took a look at the map for a minute, and I found this to be very interesting. Okay, the areas of the world where the superpowers are, right? There seems to be, a healthy mix there. I'm just saying, everybody can't be damn religious, yo. You're not gonna make it. In these areas where you find a heavy level of indigenous tribes, bro, right? These people get taken advantage of. And we ain't even got that ain't even up for debate. Because at the bottom line, there's one common thread that's going to connect all this together, right? All organisms need food, clothing, and shelter. Simple as that. You're talking about you have your wants, you have your needs. You need the baby to be stable. Carry on. Somebody was saying
but you,
something.
Yeah,
but
can I
brother,
say something
appreciate
real quick
the
about that
good.
map
Yeah, let
picture?
Chris
Is
get in here real
full.
quick. Let Chris get in here real quick because he hadn't
Go ahead.
spoken
Yeah.
yet. Go ahead, Chris.
Now, I do want to. That's an interesting point that you make right here with this map, right? When you look at this map and you look at a lot of the rural areas of the world where indigenous populations still practice a lot of their indigenous beliefs, the first thing you're going to begin to see is onset checks and balances, but I'm going to say lack of scientific, lack of education. And when you see these places, you notice that there aren't I don't want to say any, but there aren't many higher places of education. What I notice is what a lot of people in my family have been asking me, like, we heard you say you're an atheist now. What's up with that? And I began to explain to them, based on justifiable evidence, that there is no evidence of any of these Bronze Age, Iron Age concepts. The gentleman was making a good point. I think what we fail to understand is the knowledge of a god in the Bronze Age, or knowledge of deities or other things like that, or totems or things like that. That was a form of science in antiquity. And I think that those sources are now outdated. We know the source of thunderstorms. We know Odin isn't controlling them. We know the source of agriculture and how the seasons change. To still state what you believe in is a bit outdated. We don't have to believe anything anymore when you know. And based on knowledge, based on what we can ascertain in this reality, we can say there's nothing above us, hovering above us, ruling or governing us. And we can say there's nothing below us. We're going to go to a deep, fiery pit of hell, and there's a devil with shoehorns there. You look at these countries are ruled by their indigenous beliefs and not ruled by education and science. And that's all I wanted to say.
Who was next? That was you, Wolverine. Sabio.
Yeah, what Chris just said is basically what I've been saying a long time. Like, these Bronze Age beliefs was meant for those people in those times. They didn't understand the things that we have to come to learn. We have grew to learn as people on this planet. And it's time for us, if we as a group, as a nation of people within this nation, if we want to be relevant, it's time to let some of these things go, because these archaic Iron Age beliefs are allowing us to be taken advantage of. Why? Because who are the quickest to forgive? It seems like it seems like we forgive. Like, I just be like, why? It's confusing to me.
Hmm.
It's confusing to me. Like I sit back and I just be wondering, like, when are we going to actually stop looking at the religion that was given to us as saving our saving grace, as a thing that is going to
Right.
move us forward?
I don't think we're ever going to
Can
stop.
Miss Tiffany get in the conversation? I don't think she's said anything yet.
Oh, go ahead.
Trying to drag
Let me
into it.
go.
She ain't said
No,
nothing.
no, I'm just, if she wants to, it's up to her. I'm just,
She
Oh,
don't
she's on
want
the
to.
okay.
Let
panel.
me say something. If she
Man,
wants to,
she's
she
trying to
can.
open
Thank
up
you.
her daggone mouth. Shoot.
No, I understand that, but she's on the panel. I'm just asking.
Right.
What?
Like,
Hi,
Really?
hi,
So
Tiffany.
that's how we doing it.
thank
Hi,
you,
No,
Tiff.
that's
Ron.
not
I
how
That's
it
mean,
how we
goes.
everybody
doing
else
it.
was acknowledged. There's no issue. There's no issue to acknowledge me. Thank you, Ron. I
You're
appreciate
I'll
welcome.
go
that.
after
You're
Miss
welcome.
Tiff.
Oh goodness, like the hostility. Hi, Chris. Can y'all hear me?
See, my night been made. Nah, I'm good.
We can.
Yes,
How
Miss
you
Yeah,
doing,
Tiff.
we can
Miss
hear you.
Tiff?
Whole
What's up,
night been
Chris?
made. Go ahead, y'all.
So I just wanted to say that
What
I
up,
take
Sid?
the position of agnosticism. So that's what I align with, and I'm glad that Aunt did set the stage right in saying this is a philosophical discussion. And I think that being that we are in, America, the number one superpower of the world, it's safe to say that as a nation, we have balanced religious belief and scientific belief or whatever. I mean, I'm not even going to align atheism with science. I'm not going to do that. That's improper. So, as a first world nation, I think America has done a good job of that. So, I don't think that by and large we are suffering from, the holds of the same way that hunter gathered communities are in America. And I just want to say that. So, that's my stance. And I don't think that there needs to be an argument over people's philosophical leanings at all. And that's it. That's all I got for now.
Yeah, I agree
I
with you. I
think we
think
just.
the balance is the
I
key.
go, man.
You stated it properly, I think, Ms. Tiff, that countries, and Ox said the same thing, that countries that balance science and religion are the ones that are at the forefront. If you look at those countries that Ox showed in the map, those are the ones that their religious beliefs outweigh their uh, practice of, perhaps their practice of science. That there's an imbalance there, and you can see it. So I think balance is the key, and as long as things stay in balance, there should never ever be an argument about it. Should never be an argument. I don't understand that.
Well, look. Let me say this.
It is oh, sorry,
We're
Joe.
not gonna hold up, man. Michael, man. We're
Oh, go ahead,
never
Joe.
going to get rid of God until we can get people educated to the point where they don't need God. So Chris and Wolverine brought up they brought up some good points. Like so they mentioned like the god of agriculture. Now people know about seasons. They no longer need that god. We know about weather now, so we don't need that God. And on it goes. Volcanoes, whatever it is that we didn't understand. Like Chris said, these gods was what helped us to make sense out of what was the uh, uh, natural phenomenons going on around us. But people still struggle with things like my mother's about to die and I don't know what to do. And our brain wants to do something with that. And so, what do we retreat to? We go talk to somebody and say, man, can you pray with me? And all of a sudden, you feel better, and your brain is like, yeah, that worked. So it's almost like a
Placebo
dopamine.
effect.
It's almost like a dopamine.
Placebo.
Yeah, there you go, placebo. So
Actually, Joe. Actually,
and we're
can
dealing with that. We're dealing with that, and so we have got to be able to have some leniency on people who in their brains they can't get around that. So just keep that
so
in mind.
I wanted to interrupt you because I've been doing some
Nobody
studying on it.
interrupt nobody.
Well, not interrupting, but I wanted to bring, because he said dopamine, and it's really not dopamine. It's actually oxytocin.
Okay, I can work with whatever it is. I just know what's happening.
If you look into the chemical oxytocin and beliefs and spiritual beliefs and religiosity, there is a long connection between them.
Well,
So,
hold on for a minute. Before we move on, let's get this. See, this for me, this is where the rubber meets the road at. And my fight against religion is a little bit different from a lot of other people. So right here, we got the definition right here. It's a religion, right? So we need to know what the hell religion is. It's a range of social cultural systems, right? You know what the social cultural system is, right? It said including designated behaviors and practices, morals, beliefs, worldviews, texts, sanctified places, prophecies, ethics, or organizations that generally relate human. What is that? Oh man, that generally relate. Where am I? Where that generally relate humanity to supernatural, transcendental, and spiritual elements. You say, although there is no scholarly consensus over what precisely constitutes a religion, different religions may or may not contain various elements ranging from the divine, sacredness, and faith, and the supernatural beings or beings. So you can have religion, don't have to have none of that. So really, for me, it encompasses, right, culture. And the proof is this. How do you really destroy a culture? We come to the origin of the word God here. Now, the word itself, it says it's a what? It's an old English God, supreme deity, the Christian God. Think about what I'm saying. Image of a God, godlike person, from the Pi, Proto-Germanic, Gutan, source of all, old Saxon, old Frisian, Dutch God, old High German God, Got, German God, Gut, old Norse God, right? Gothic, which is of uncertain origins, perhaps from Pi. All right, Gut. It says that which is invoked. Sources also Old Church Slavic, Zuvu, to call, Sanskrit, Hutu, invoked. So basically, to call on. So basically, what we're really saying is, who culture are you following when we say religion, when we say God? That's what we really talk about. And we know what's slavery. Slavery is the destruction of one's culture to integrate them into another culture. That's what slavery really is. It takes away your memory of your ancestors. Why am I saying this? Now, if you're religious, right? Say the monotheistic religions, that affects us the most, right? You lose your ancestors, and now all of a sudden, Abraham becomes a great ancestor, all the way back to Adam, officially putting you somewhere in Asia. That's why that's why there's a struggle here. Because when we say humanity started in Africa, then you get the religious people say, oh, no, God in Eden. So now you can't even teach the people. Because watch this, y'all. When you're trying to teach the people, it's twofold. You got this barrier in the middle. If I say Africa, Homo sapiens sapiens, and you say Adam and Eve, I can't even get you to your history. Because you're going to always start out with somebody else's history under the banner of their cultural deity called Yahweh or Jesus Christ. So it's a cultural fight for me. See, you was always thinking that, well, maybe he fight. No, I'm trying to educate my people, and religion gets in the way of that. Because if you're sitting there saying, oh, you're right, humanity didn't start in the Garden of Eden, but I believe God made us in the Garden of Eden, then you're double talking and you're flim-flamming. What say the panel?
Can I ask a question, Ark, before you go further? Just
I agree with you, and I wanted to elaborate on this.
I want Ron to go. Yeah. Right. Then we're gonna let Cedric go because he's a religious. I want to hear that, Ron. Go.
The question I have though, as you were talking about this, you were making some good points, but would you be comfortable with religion if for Black people, let's talk about just us as a specifically, if we all just dropped Christian religion and just went and just now said our God is Olodumare as an example, or Shango or some ancient African religion like Ifa, would that make you feel better?
No.
So then, what was
No.
that diatribe? What
What
was that
makes
diatribe
me
all about?
no? Well, it wasn't a diatribe. It was actually an education on how really what you think is God is really a cultural container of ideas. This actually wasn't a diatribe. It was actually an education on what God really is, as opposed to thinking something else. It actually identifies the place of origin of a people, or what
Yeah,
they think the place of origin is. It puts you in a particular time and space. That's why I read the different names. Odin said nothing about Africa in that definition there.
I know, but that's why I was asking you. You were using all these European names
No,
for
I'm not.
God.
I'm not fooling with nothing. I'm not fooling with the beliefs in God. So whether that's your personal opinion on whether it be old or body, but at least I know when you start to talk about like traditional African gods, I know you've taken that step in the right direction of understanding, where you come from.
So you would be less militant against it then.
I'm not militant anyway. I just really educate. You got to really check the last 5 years. I just been really educating people on what it really is. And people have been pushing back on that. Right? Like, I don't even think God is I never believed that God was some type of force. The force is in the definition of the word. That's the power. The power is the word itself. The power is the power that we as humans place on the damn word. But I don't sitting here thinking that if I talk crazy about Jesus Christ, that all of a sudden he's going to pop up out of nowhere and smack me. I
Well,
know that's foolish.
apparently I misunderstood you because I was thinking that you were saying that the fact that black people in America, since we take on the culture of this
We
country,
lose our
because
culture. We lose our cultural backgrounds.
well,
That's what I'm saying.
don't you think our culture is American though?
No, I say that we need to be able to connect. We need to be able to have a connection there because slavery erased that connection. That's my point. Have a connection.
No,
We're
that's what I'm
African Americans. We are exclusive to America, right? And we born and raised in America, right? But to give us complete wholeness as human beings, you should at least have a functioning understanding of humanity and where it comes from and where you came from. So that's the
no,
fight
but
now.
how
They're
does
gonna start fighting that in schools. We don't want to teach that. Why not? Because once you start to recognize where you come from for real, right? There may be some things we can look back on and grasp. That's why I'm diabolically opposed when people start talking about they just call themselves black. Well, you messing up the damn culture. We trying to figure out what was the people trying to convey. What ideas in the past did they see that we might could bring forward? But if you give them African American culture, you just went against what you're really trying to do. We're trying to find something to help us function a little bit better at times, bro. That's my point.
well, this is the last point. This last thing I'll say, and then somebody else can take the mic. But all I'm saying is that, as an example,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or anything, but for those on the panel who may believe in the Christian God or a version of the Christian God,
Mhm.
they can still understand our African roots, our African history, because human beings, we have the ability to walk and chew gum at the same time. Why
Mhm.
I don't understand why you think that is a detriment to becoming culturally aware from our African side, African culture, culturally aware. Why you think religion is a barrier to that? I don't understand that. But I'll yield to the next person.
Because you feel like you think that the Africans, their idea of social construction of religion is subpar. You're actually thinking this. See, so we come here. Voodoo. See, we say that, niggas start running and hiding and diving. Oh my God. Oh my God. Right?
Yeah.
Voodoo. Look, where it is cited as certain cult practices and idolatrous worship. See that word?
Yeah.
Uh, Y'all
But
thing ain't real. It's
but
not real.
everybody
It's a doubt. Let me
everybody
finish, bro.
yeah.
We're
Go
not
ahead. I'm
cutting each
sorry.
other off.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We're
Go
not
ahead.
cutting each
Go
other
ahead.
off tonight.
Go ahead.
Idolatrous. It says worship of an African deity. It's right there. Here you go. I didn't say that about the word God. That's the so. And I'm saying our psyche has fundamentally been challenged by words, and that's the real power. So my deal is, man, say voodoo, and that's a positive thing. That's not a negative thing. And if you can get past that barrier there, whether you believe it or not, you've grown as an African American. That's all I'm saying. Simple. So that's my point. And it goes on to say, it is attested in the 18th century French as a dance performed by African slaves. See? From Louisiana, French voodoo. From the West African languages such as the Fon voodoo, deity, God, right? A verb is attested in the 1880s. So, man, yo, I say we have rich tradition, right? I think it's important to be able to get back. Whether you practice it or not, that's just something different, right? That's just something different. And, you know, I just feel like, man, for me, you have Jewish people that are atheists. See? That's real. Cultural atheists with Christianity. Like there's certain culture to come out of Christianity. It's attested to certain areas, right? Should that culture be lost? No. Should African culture be lost? No. No. Once you lose sight of your culture, yo, you lose sight of who you are and who you can actually truly become and be. That's just my feelings on the subject. Go ahead.
What he's saying is that, you know, your gripe that you have with trying to teach African Americans where they come from, right? And they point to Adam and Eve as a beginning, you would reach the same conundrum if you're talking to an African population that believe in Ifa. So we say no matter if it's Christianity or Ifa, the same conundrum exists.
Exactly.
No, I didn't. No, that's why I didn't acquiesce to that faulty premise he said, because I already knew he was going. I already seen the curveball.
If I'm trying to teach somebody about God or the beginning of life, they're going to bring up Adam and Eve, and you were saying like that would hurt them in terms of understanding the origin of humanity. Well, so that same thing would exist even in Ifa, so it doesn't change. Basically, we're saying like that's kind of you're basically saying that's irrelevant because it's the same paradigm exists.
Not actually, it's actually baby steps.
Exactly the same paradigm.
It's not to you in your mind. In my mind, is let me at least get you back to the continent.
What would that do though?
It would get you back to the continent. It would open your eyes up. Hold on, it would open your eyes up, man. So you mean you have other cultural practices? We're in Africa now. So people will say, yeah, the origin of humanity is in Africa, right? And they still be Christians and believe. So you caught. So you say it's the same paradigm if you say practice Ifa. That's why I didn't say practice Ifa. What I said was you have to be. Hold on. I say you would have to open your mind and recognize that there are different cultural practices. That was my reason for teaching it, so that you could get past thinking that voodoo was negative. That's why I said it. That was my point. Like if you can't get your mind past it, that's evil, then you're done. That's my point. You got to be able to say, well, that's the cultural practice. So I'm saying it opens up the student to recognizing that all human beings have cultural practices. There's none being better than others. That was my overarching point. Not that Ifa going to take you back to a tree or whatever it is, right? That wasn't my point. My point was that Adam and Eve, which is in the three monotheistic religions, take you completely off the continent. You ain't even in the game. That was my point. But go ahead.
Well, Adam is still here. Adam and Eve is over there.
It's definitely over there. Over there, where?
It's over there. Yeah, in that it's still in that region.
It mentions the book mentions Egypt, specifically Egypt.
It's still over there.
Yo, you stupid. It's over there. It's in Turkey.
Yeah, Adam and Eve was not in America. It's over there.
No, it's not in America. It's not.
I don't know that point.
But the first book of Genesis specifically talks about Egypt and the interaction of the importance of the nation of Egypt to the Hebrew people. It talks about it.
No, you ain't read it.
What do you mean I haven't read it? You ain't read it. But it does though.
You ain't read it.
It talks about how Abraham went into Egypt. Every time the Israelites got in trouble, they went into Egypt, right?
For what reason?
To survive.
Because of what?
Because they a famine, or because they saw that the Egyptian civilization was there to help them, protect them.
That's not how I see it. Because their God couldn't help them. Their God could have made shit grow right where they was at.
I'm coming from the biblical perspective.
I am. Right? Listen, God got to take starving people and put them in an area where the black soil grow food at. He couldn't make the food grow where they was at. So he had to move them out of the land that was arid and famine filled and take them to a land of honey.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
not.
really happened if you
I'm
read
not.
the
I'm not.
story.
I'm not trying to
So
debate whether or not the Bible, what happened in the
What
Bible, is
you
real or not.
mentioned
I'm
the
just saying.
Bible in the conversation, not
No, but
me.
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that you're saying that the Christian religion has nothing to do with Africa. I'm just saying that Egypt is in Africa.
What?
That's all I'm saying.
What? So
You're gonna
now,
have a
so
hard
now.
time with that.
Oh yeah. Okay, man. You gotta stop.
okay,
Anyway,
so I'm gonna jump back on the floor. First of all, the fact that we are in the West
Good point though, Ron
and
and
um, um,
Sosa. Go ahead,
and we're,
Cedric.
and we're not in any theocratic or communist country allows us the freedom to openly have these discussions, right? And philosophy itself is an arena of debate where these ideas are debated back and forth. So if there is any opposition to a particular position, it is to the position and not to the person. This is always a flawed position taken when discussing these philosophical positions. And within the realm of philosophy, from the moment this concept was created, there has been philosophical debate. And I would tend to hold to the positions which tend to disagree with agnosticism as a philosophical position because of the position that I hold. Skepticism, methodological naturalism, and the arguments against it. For example, the concept of knowledge within the realm of contemporary philosophy, certainty is not a requirement. Within the realm of modern philosophy, we can attain knowledge of these religions and their concepts and their ideas. We understand fundamentally that they're man-made. So that position that we cannot acquire knowledge is inerrant. That's a philosophical position with regards to that. So it's not attacking anybody. And long live the West, where I can openly be an atheist and oppose philosophical ideas that are not grounded in logic and reason.
Hmm. What's up, James? You on the panel, man? What say you?
Hey there, guys. So I'm new here. The algorithm recommended me, and I saw you guys had a live panel going on. And so I normally I know people in these spaces, right? Because I've been in like the Afro Atheists channel, Esther, and the Real Nordic Black, and I'm a moderator over at Myth Vision and over at Dr. Jennifer Bird's channel, and
Okay.
small channel of my own. I'm full disclosure, I'm atheish. I'm not atheist, strictly speaking.
Define that for the people. Find that for the people so we get an understanding of atheist.
Right.
Go ahead,
Right.
get
So
it.
typically, if you use a word like atheist, people bring their baggage to the label, right? They start immediately associating
Indeed.
different concepts with what it means to them. And in order to avoid all that baggage, I point out that I don't strictly fit within the confines of what people expect when you say atheist. For example, I think spirituality is a legitimate domain of exploration, discovery, and growth. Now, you're not going to find a whole lot of atheists that want to say those words, right? And people wouldn't expect that from somebody who wears the label. And that's one of the reasons that I don't.
Okay,
So
good point.
for me, I don't take the position that no gods exist. Instead, I take the position that I don't have one. Right. Now, if somebody worships the sun in the sky, well, they don't need to convince me that the sun is up there. I've seen it. Right. And they don't need to convince me that they worship the sun. I believe them. Who would lie about that? So in that context, their God definitely exists, right? And
Right.
so, as I see it, God is a relationship paradigm. It's a way of relating to something real or conceptualized that helps people sort out their place in the universe. And I'm perfectly fine with that as a general concept. And so, because I don't go Aaron Ra on the issue, right? I don't take the position because if you know Aaron Ra, he says
Yeah.
it's all woo,
Yeah, we have
stomp
on
it
the
all out,
platform. Yeah,
burn it to
Spook,
the
God.
spookism is spookism. I'm an R&R.
right. So I understand his justification for that position, right? Because fantasy thinking pretty much makes it to where anything goes. You can justify anything, and it discourages rational inquiry and rational thought on the issues. I get his position. I just don't go that far. When I look at something like the native indigenous tribes here in America, at least the popular conception of those, I think that there's beauty in that. I think there's power and utility in that. And as long as somebody's relationship to those concepts and to that culture isn't hurting anyone, I say more power to them, right? I have no problem with that at all. In fact, my position is limited to that. If someone, for example, comes to me and they identify as Christian, a lot of atheists would immediately get really guarded about that, right? And my position is, it's just a label. It means whatever it means to the person. And until they tell me what it means to them, I don't have a position about it at all, right? So that's where I'm at about it. I just want to let everybody know kind of what my disposition is about the issues.
All right, yeah, I like that guy. I like it.
Agnostic then.
I like it.
Atheist, you heard him. Atheist.
Agnostic.
Yeah, I'm agnostic-ish. I like that right there.
That's what it sounds like.
I'm agnostic.
Yeah, I guess I'm agnostious.
I'm agnostic.
Atheist.
For the same reason. I don't.
You guys are fun.
Before we did this show, I I did a video of Neil deGrasse Tyson explaining why he chose, and it's a lot of the same thing what you explained, bro. Like some of these bags that come with it, and I just like, for me, if you want to know what I think, just ask me what I think, and then let me explain it to you instead of me having to damn figure out a hard, soft, left, right, twist, turn, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm just agreeing with you 100%.
So for me, and just a thought here, I understand that human beings create the idea of God. And the closest thing that I would even understand would be that man himself would have to be God, since he created God out of the imagination and using his brain. So the thing that is fundamental to everybody, whether you're religious, atheist, or agnostic, is food, clothing, and shelter. See, no one can escape that. No one can escape. Biological organisms can't escape the fact that we're all connected through atoms, forged by distant stars. These are scientific realities. Can't deny that. So that's what connects us all together, is them atoms. All day, every day, you can debate it, but it's not up for debate as of now. So God is human beings imagining things, learning things, talking about things. It's the word itself. It's the creation of human beings. So I'm not sitting here thinking that there was one God that forget about all the rest of the gods and dove his way into a particular area and made the God of gods. So when you really talk about God, specifically monotheism, you're really talking about people trying to conquer other people's culture, because religion is culture. Last time I checked, remember we read that definition, right? We read it. So religion, when you come with religion, you're actually trying to conquer people's culture. So as you, James, right, I think religion can be beautiful because it's an expression of human beings' culture. So I'm not the one to be mad at a person, worrying about religion. I get upset when people seem to think that there's just one God or two gods and get mad at the atheists, because everybody is atheist. If you ask a Christian, is Kulu a God? They're going to say, hell no. I'll be atheist towards that.
Yeah.
Flying spaghetti monkey.
Yeah, I ain't even get into the flying spaghetti God yet. I'm going to say that.
Let's not, because we already know that's satire.
No, see, I don't agree with that, Sosa. So I don't agree to the flying spaghetti God is what you're saying.
We know why he made that up.
No.
Yeah, that was all done satirically, right?
Yeah,
all religions are made up. Everybody made every religion up.
Yeah,
but we know why he created that specifically. We know
it's just as made up as the others, irrelevant of the reason it is made up. And based on agnosticism, you need to say, well, it might be possible.
It's how our brains work, man. I'm telling you.
Agnosticism only says that the knowledge you've seen he acquired outside the scope of human ability. If we leave it at that.
And
if you look at Huxley's issue with and why he came into the fold, it's because they were arrogant Gnosticists arguing amongst arrogant atheists.
Right.
And he stepped in and said, listen, what you're talking, neither one of you have the capability of having this knowledge, this unknowable. And so, and in order to adhere with the scientific method, he coined the term agnosticism, and he laid out that foundation.
Can we go through the process of examining that? Because you lay it down and do as if that that is what it is. No, it's a philosophical position that can be debated. That's the whole point. It is not in stone, and the errors in that are apparent. His position is inerrant because you have a group making truth claims. We know the source of these arguments, so they can be examined.
Right.
So his position is philosophically flawed.
Sosa is saying it's literary ridicule. Am I right or wrong? You're saying it's basically satire and literary ridicule, basically.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Nobody's saying it can't be. There's a parody. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the spaghetti god.
Monster.
The flying spaghetti god.
But if this was presented a certain way, if this wasn't put out as satire and somebody actually started a church house group and it grew into them building a building, this would be a legit thing.
It is legit.
Sure.
It
Hold on, wait a
legit.
minute. We actually
Just like
know of somebody bringing out a whole new book that people believe in called an Owapsi Bible. Where that come from? Somebody pulled it out the woodwork.
Just like you can't disprove Yahweh, you can't disprove the flying spaghetti monster.
The Mormons. How about the Mormons? See, we don't call that satire. It would have had to been satire. Jesus came to America.
No,
right.
Man, see, I don't like that.
Bottom line is, how crazy gonna go there, man. We gotta cope.
It's not the same. I don't like it. I don't like that. Due diligence. What's up, brother?
Neither do.
I still want to know what we're gonna do with our brains. What we're gonna do with our brains finding comfort in these things? What we gonna do about that?
I think it's I think humans make when you don't have family and friends around, you imagine talking to another person, because that's all God is. He's a father figure. He's definitely not a mother figure. You have to reconstruct the way you think to even think that God was a mother figure, right? So when when people are down at their lowest points and they can do nothing else, they start to call on. If the person ain't around, that's like an AA and NA. They say there's a value from one addict helping another, right? You can lean on people who've been through similar circumstances. This is the same thing with God. If you don't got nobody around, you can talk to God, literally. You ever talk to God? And it's funny how God always got your voice. You ever wonder why God got your voice?
Sounds just like me.
Sounds just like you. Ever wonder why that?
I don't know. My gosh.
I wonder why nobody ever asked themselves that question. Why God never sound different? Why he always sound like me?
I don't know. Like, first of all, y'all scaring me. Y'all scaring me when y'all tell me y'all know what God. Like, y'all have heard God, a sound come from God. I've never heard God.
I did, man. I did.
So I don't know. I've never heard a God with a Jamaican accent.
I did. It ain't sound nothing like Uncle voice either. It ain't sound nothing like Uncle's voice.
God be like, well, how you doing?
All right. So what do the shark gods sound like? What do the shark gods sound like? Tell me what the shark gods sound like. Tell me what the shark gods sound like.
Oh man.
What God? Say that again. What God is that?
The shark god. The shark. The shark
god. Like a swimming in the water shark.
I don't know what I'm saying. Y'all
the shark god.
Y'all claim to heard God speak. Y'all have went one step beyond me.
Yeah, I need to know what the elephant god sound like.
Oh man, Wolverine. He making up some good shit, man. He just came out the woodwork. There you go. There go God. There go God.
Like y'all crazy.
But
that was God.
Yeah, but seriously, getting back to what Miss Tiffany said, I think you said the same thing.
I can't get past the Ten Commandments. Y'all ever watch the Ten Commandments?
Balance is the key, isn't it?
Shape my idea of what God was.
Yeah, balance is the key. I'm with you there, Ron.
Hey, Ron, you keep making. You know what, Ron? Listen, I don't think I wasn't talking about the same balance you talking about.
Okay, what were you talking about then?
Right, because science don't need balance. Science itself balances
no, culture,
out the damn planet.
Society needs balance.
It's society you need culture. Culture is part of what makes us human.
No,
And I'm saying when you formulate culture, right, and you deify it, okay, then you're putting one culture over another. That's how I see it, right? Humans being humans, taking a culture. My culture is better than yours. And oh, by the way, the God of the universe made this culture, Hebrew, right? And it has conquered the world. But it's
but
culture that has actually conquered the world. It's people's culture, brother. That's
I
all.
Can I
understand.
get in
Whenever,
really quickly,
yeah,
Ron?
yeah, go ahead.
I was
Go
going
ahead.
to say, but you don't need religion for people to say they're better than. People do that already just based on their culture and
Absolutely.
where
Yeah,
they're from.
that's true.
So
That's true.
just
Very
saying,
good point. Very good
people
point.
do that already, regardless.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Nah, I
Yes, they do.
disagree. I
Yes, they do.
disagree.
What?
I
How you
disagree.
gonna
Come on, come
disagree with
on.
How can
that?
you disagree with that?
Because I was talking global. Y'all broke it down to Crips and Bloods.
No,
I
we're
didn't
talking
say nothing
globally.
about Crips
I
and
was talking
Bloods.
global.
You made a general statement.
I
Was
didn't
not
say.
no. I said conquer the world. Is what I said. The Crips
Yeah, of
and
course.
Bloods and people individually didn't conquer the world. It was
I didn't say
religion.
nothing about Crips and Bloods.
No, you're
Nah,
saying
y'all adding stuff that
it
I
all
ain't.
it
No,
all
I'm
came
saying
from
I'm
that
gonna
the
show you a
people
map.
can use their culture as a means to
I'm
say
gonna show
I'm
you a
better
map.
than you.
and it
They do it all
happens
the
all the
time.
time.
It's happening right here in good old America.
I'm set up a
Exactly.
shirt
That
for
ain't
the
what we
back.
talking about,
when
man.
when
That
the
ain't what we talking
Egyptians
about.
expanded their
You
when the
Yeah, but
specifically
Egyptians
said,
it's
expanded
just
their
it's
I
empire,
did
harmful.
not. Did not.
But if you're saying it's harmful for people to do it who hold religious beliefs,
I
it's
didn't say
just
nothing
as
about no
harmful.
harmful. I didn't say that.
Okay.
but you
Yeah, I
did
didn't say
say
Well,
nothing
it's
that
about
though.
harmful.
imbalance. Okay, so imbalance. So it's imbalance as
Yeah.
well when you do that culturally, because this is how groups get marginalized because they're not like other groups.
Yeah, hey, James, I'm gonna need you when I'm gonna need James when I go against Dr. Andy. I'm gonna need me a little squad because I'm gonna be outnumbered in that. We don't have Dr. Andy Thompson on the show, probably like coming up soon. I'm gonna need you on the panel because
Yeah, I'll be there.
he's talking because he wants to, Dr. Andy, which is our guy, but he's in favor of he thinks that religion is a mind virus and it needs to be eradicated. That's his
A mind virus.
a mind virus. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
Wow.
don't
I
think it's
believe
a
it is
I
too.
don't think it's a I don't think it's a virus. I think it's something that has become embedded in our minds as a coping mechanism, and we haven't learned that we don't need these ideas anymore to live. We know what happens when people die. You die. Your element that you that kept you sustained are going to go back to the earth.
We
There
have
is
no
no
idea
heaven
where
or
people go
hell,
when they die. How do we know
man.
this?
You ain't
I,
going to heaven,
well,
What I'm
so
that's
saying
don't
is
an
blame
you have
me.
no idea. You have
individual
no
thing.
idea where they go.
No
Your
way.
body is
That's
going to decompose. Your consciousness. There's no way you can live out without a conscious brain.
Where does
Once
your
the
atoms?
brain dead,
Where do your
so
atoms
so
go?
they go back to the elements.
Okay, so
They go back
No,
to
you
where
can
and
they
live
where are
came
the
without a
from.
conscious
elements? Where are the
brain. You just
elements?
won't be conscious, but you can live.
You're just talking.
So
From dust
without a
you
brain,
came, to dust you shall return.
without a brain, there is no life.
No.
So if you're
There's
so
life without a brain. There's just no consciousness without a brain. You can be alive without a brain. There's many people. That's called a vegetable. You can be alive
okay,
without a
we're
brain.
not talking about brain dead.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about brain dead. So quit getting too technical. I'm talking about actual life.
Yeah.
Once your brain activity and your heart activity is done, you're
You just
done.
add heart.
There
You
is
just add
no
heart.
consciousness. There is no consciousness. There is no consciousness outside of an active brain.
Right. That's what I said. You just added heart.
So yeah, that's because you adding layers. So quit trying to confuse the shit so I can say what I'm saying. There is no
no
consciousness outside of an
cursing.
active brain.
All right, let's move on. Because I don't want it to be a cussing show. Let's move
Yeah,
forward.
let's
Right,
keep
we
going.
can do that.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
also wanted to say that
Yeah,
I
they threw you off with the cuss word, get you knocked out. He's
can
the
can I
unruly atheist. See how they do you, yo.
yeah, I'm
can I
an
make this
unruly
one
atheist.
point?
This ain't the cussing show. Ain't cussing.
This ain't the
Can I
cussing
make this
show,
one
bro.
point? I think that when we make like these, these declarations that, you know, we should eradicate a religion on the planet. I think that's fool's gold. It's never going to happen. It's just like the wait and see program, waiting for Christ to come back, as far as I'm concerned. I think that even as advanced as humans will become in the future, when we're all gone, long gone, I think that as scientific as our future may look, there's still going to be people that will gather and create more gods, right?
Facts.
I think that's always going to be a part of the picture, no matter how scientifically advanced we become as a civilization.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, because even
Yeah,
scientists,
because, and I'll
even
tell you why,
scientists
and
are
I'll tell you why I say that, because people already do it. They do it. They make people, well, I guess you could call them cults, but they make people that they admire a messiah to them. So I don't think that any amount of scientific advancement will ever stop that, because we're dealing with human beings, unless, of course, we become something other than human.
I don't think human beings are necessarily are necessarily wired to believe in God. Meaning, like, there's a mechanism at place that make you believe in God. No, I say this and I say this again, that those mechanisms that are at play are co-opted by different religions, to the point where you'll have a person say that's just satire. But wait a minute, anything could be considered that at that particular time and place. So humans can stop believing in God. They're never going to stop believing, though. See, that's what
right,
I'm
so
saying.
they can make each other gods. They could find, maybe it's the Bobby in the future. Oh, Bobby, he is our God. He is our Messiah. I'm saying no matter that can happen, because that happens all the time. So
Yeah, but humans is
we may be
God based
flying
off the
around in
definition.
spaceships. We may be flying around in spaceships. That's not going to eliminate that.
So you see on the map, I got the map here. Early Muslim conquest, and they was Muslims, and every place they went, they changed the culture. They put rules in place. You can read the Quran, right? They called your religion out of order, and you was like an infidel or something wild like that. And yeah, this is the early Muslim empire. All right, it's the empire right here. Y'all can see it in expansions. Here you go. So yeah, they brought technology too. Let's not get it twisted, right? But the cultural shifts occurred. All right. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, man, yo. So really, for your God, for my God to live, your God must die. I just want y'all to know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bad side
not
of it. But
necessarily like
but
the shit.
what we gonna do with the 4-year-old sitting there playing with the toys and having a full-blown conversation with somebody?
No, that's gonna always be there.
Okay, so it's in us. It's in us to have
A friend.
something else
A
there
friend.
with
Is that
us.
what I just said? Anyway.
I know, I'm with you. I'm with you.
And
So just a
the
question.
human brain
Let
is
me
not
ask you a question.
designed to be in a position of not knowing. That's more based on our scientific understanding.
There
Like
you go.
our comfortable place, if we don't know something, we will create we will create something based on what we don't know. Like we're not comfortable with not knowing. Like so
It's
that's
good
why
body budgeting.
if you ask somebody, they'd be like, what was that? And they'd be like, it's a UFO. I don't know what it was. And then as soon as they split saying that, they'll say, well, I think what happened was, and they'll start explaining it, because it's better to have an explanation, even if it's false, than to have no explanation at all. That's how your brain is naturally wired.
Yes.
To work.
You're right.
That's good body budgeting.
Just another question though for Frank, if I can, just real quick. You showed that map of the Muslims conquering North Africa. Ostensibly, I think it's what you're saying, in the name of their God, in the name of Allah.
Yeah, give
right?
them strength and vigor. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
That's real.
so why did America drop not one but two atom bombs on Japan? Was it in the name of our God? Or was it because we had the technology?
Matter of fact, America explicitly, let me see, explicitly,
explicitly.
when they formed the Constitution. Remember, they was running away from religious persecution.
Yeah.
And so they did, contrary to belief, right? No matter what you think in your mind, right? Those early forefathers of the United States, man, they wanted to separate church from state. And I'm saying that's what makes the balance. Is my point. You have to be able to separate that. Whereas though the Muslims, they ain't separate that, right? And look where they at today.
No, I'm just
No,
saying
no,
that
no,
that's
no, no, no. Because
that
you still got the golden age of Islam, which happened right alongside of Islamic culture at its peak, and they were
That's my
at that
favorite
time the
subject,
most
bro.
technological
The
place.
golden
Favorite
age of
subject, bro.
Islam was
It's my
also
favorite
going on at
subject,
the
bro.
same time of the Crusade.
It's
Ain't
my
that
favorite
odd?
subject, bro.
But that doesn't go ahead, let me let James
Yeah,
speak, but that doesn't
dude.
refute the fact that they had their religion and they were at the height, the golden age
I
of
didn't
Islam.
say. See,
I'll let James get it because I know James want to say something.
hey, Rob Rich, go ahead.
Let James
Oh, James, you want to say something? James, go ahead.
How'd you know I wanted to say something?
I see you coming off mute like this. You want to get a word.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize. I realized I was doing that. So, I mean, yeah, there's truth to that. But the thing is, and Neil deGrasse Tyson did a video presentation on this, and he tracked the progression of contributions to math and science made by people in Islam, and he showed that when they had a culture that was based on tolerance and respect, and they weren't super fundamentalist about it, then they were able to flourish in their inquiry and their discoveries and their development. But as soon as somebody came along to say, oh, it's time to go hardcore fundamentalist, that's when the progress stopped. It happened in Christianity, it happened in Islam. So it's not the religious theme itself or belief that impedes progress. It's when people go super fundamentalist about it and lock down as moral authoritarians. That's when things go badly and progress stops happening.
What do they use to go fundamentalist, though?
So a fundamentalist would be
What are they using? What are they using? What tools are they using?
I'm sorry. You mean what tools are they using to?
Yeah, are they using their religion to guide and instruct them?
Well,
to the fundamentalists.
It's a combination of the existing religious framework and then what they want to do with the framework. So the idea is, okay, we have some texts that say these things, and we do honor that currently. However, I think we need a more strict and severe interpretation of these things so that we stop being tolerant of other ways of thinking and being in the world. And then from there, they extrapolate secondary ideas about how to interpret the texts and what they think God really meant and what they think God really feels and wants. They go beyond the texts, but then they manipulate people into thinking that they're simply extrapolating what the text really meant, even though it's not really in there. Christianity does the same thing all the time. They have all these ideas about what they think is in their Bible, and it's not really in their Bible. It's just that apologists have developed ideas outside the Bible, and then they take those ideas and read them back into the texts. And a good example of that is their position against gays. Now, no matter how you or anybody else here feels about homosexuality, the truth is that within the context of that culture at the time, they weren't talking about homosexuality as an identity or as a lifestyle or anything else. They were talking about male dominance hierarchies, so that the natural order in their point of view was that for someone to be in the submissive role, or what you might call the catcher and not the pitcher. I'm trying to be not too X-rated about how I explain this.
Right.
So the guy on top, so to speak, he's okay. He's all right. It's the guy on the bottom that's violating the natural order within the context of their cultural paradigm at the time. This is the thing that they had a problem with. Because it wasn't gayness exactly, right? They didn't have a conceptualization of identity in terms of sexuality like we do today. And
this
so
was predominantly in the Greek culture, right? In aspects of the Greek culture.
Right. But that's always been the way, religion absorbs as they interact with other cultures. So, people think, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna you're making some good points, but I wanted to say it's not just
I would
the
say it
Muslim
was
world.
religious conservatism that did it.
Well, it's not just the Muslim world that
That's what we're talking about. We want to tease that out though for a minute, right? Because he made a couple points. You making some points. I don't think it was just. I'm not saying it was just religion. It was a few factors, and one of them, the factor I was. So you got political instability, right? But I would say religious conservatism is one of them, right? And then what? Rise of theological authority. It's all back to religion, though. That's my whole point. That those main two factors, right, is what put them in the position they're in today.
No, the main
And
factor that put them in the
The
position.
Imam
it
decided
was
that
more. It's not one main factor though.
was of the
So
devil.
The thing that caused it is the Mongol invasion. You cannot
Ah.
leave out. You cannot leave
Yeah.
out the Mongol invasion and
that's
they
political
killed the
instability.
caliphate. And the caliphate that was murdered, they brought in a new caliphate. They also destroyed the library. How much of the library that they had is debated, but they pretty much went scorched earth in that area, destroyed a lot of the scholars, killed the caliphate, burnt the libraries, and when the new regime pulled up and the new caliphate came with a stricter form of Islam, and that's how they ended up where they were. But it's not the religion
Exactly.
itself.
One of the Imam declared mathematics is the work of the devil and banned all aspects
Yo,
of it.
what are we
It was the
saying?
theocracy that ultimately led to the downfall.
What are
The
we saying?
theocracy.
You just said the same
No,
thing.
it was
You just
the
said the same
knowledge
thing.
was you cannot, like I'm saying, in order to have the conversation, you have to know the history of what happened in the area. You cannot leave out the Mongol invasion and what they did.
But
So
who did
religion
that?
taken to religion taken
And a
to its
lot of people
extreme.
that
No, but
watched
who
that
did that?
lecture,
But who did that
a
though?
lot of
So
people
we
that
know how
watched
the
that
House of
lecture,
Wisdom fell.
a lot of people that watch that lecture only hear half of the graph explanation and don't
I
get
don't
the
know.
whole
I
context
don't
of it.
know.
When you get
Because
the
I've been
whole
talking about the
whole
House of Wisdom
context
for
of it,
years.
he explains it that way. You cannot leave that. You can't leave that out. That's all.
Yeah, but and so that's why we put that into what? And we said that was the what, bro? Political instability. So when the fall of the House of Wisdom is political instability.
Well, no, well, political
In
instability would
1259,
imply
1258.
well, no, sometimes political instability could happen, but that's more in terms of we say political instability. That means that's
Caused by the invasion, bro.
like when Egypt goes into a intermediate period. There's no warring faction that comes in and pretty much destroys it. That means that there's political instability, it's a size fighting, and it leads to a devolving in text and learning and collapse like that. But it's not because of an outside force coming in and going scorched earth in that area. It's a little different.
So we studied it. So we understand the study. People have talked about it for a while. We talk about the Moors in Spain, right? And we talk about how they kicked the North Africans. They kicked them out. They kicked out North Africans. They kicked out West Africans. Okay. So the empire started to get fragmented. On top of the empire getting fragmented, right? Then you get the Mongol invasion. Okay. So when you get the Mongol invasion, now all of a sudden, right, you get that political instability. Okay. Now that led to what? The Mongol invasions led to intellectual centers. Am I correct there, Sosa? Right? And loss of support with scientific endeavors. Okay. So all that's in the game. I'm not taking none of that away, right? But the religious conservatism. Gotta put that in there. All right. So the fall of the House of Wisdom, the fragmentation of the empire, the rise of religious authority. You know what I'm saying? All of that, man. I mean, look, out of 5 things, the 3 of them is the religious, man. Come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. That doesn't, your argument doesn't combat the fact that they're over reliance on religion. Put them at a default that they have not been able to climb out of yet.
But
that's
my
all
point
I'm
is
saying.
that when they went to over relying on religion, was the civilization intact? Were they flourishing? And then they just went to over reliance on religion and then knocked it out? Is that what happened? That's
Say it again.
Were they flourishing? Were they already intact, full blown, full strong, golden age of Islam, knowledge flourishing? Then the caliphate came in. No, it didn't happen like that.
No, the caliphate was always there. That's part of the thing, but they didn't have the over reliance though. It was
the caliphate was killed during the Mongol invasion.
Yeah, the one that was more favorable to science and science innovation. It's like having different popes.
Which is my point. So the nation were not flourishing. So when they reestablished, they never reestablished and got to the heights that they were during the golden age of Islam.
Why not?
They never got back there.
Why not? Why
really?
Not? Why not?
Because a lot of the people, because they killed a lot of the people that was, and a lot of people that had the knowledge fled, bro. I'm saying,
Nah.
let's just move on. Let's move on. We'll just do. I'm gonna do a show on that.
It was the shift. It was the shifting of religious attitudes, man. A political instability, man. It was all that, bro. I'm saying it was the shift because you could be a caliph and still promote science, but the ones that came in didn't. That's the. I mean, that's come on. How we not saying that?
Do a little more in-depth conversation now. I think me and Mark was talking about that a little earlier too, and some of the philosophy that was going on.
But how am I missing this though? I'm not. I'm saying so. I've never said that religious leaders.
We could unpack everything to get full context.
Okay, but let me get my last statement out. Where you at, due diligence? You want to say something?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead. I'm not gonna get my last statement out. Unless you
I'm enjoying the conversations. Y'all getting down through there, man. This is really, really enjoyable. I appreciate it. I feel like you did a really good job of unpacking religions, saying that religion is like a cultural container. You know what I mean? And it's another way of saying, like, you know, ideologies or a worldview. You know what I mean? And then we're talking about like God, you know, and that's like the entity or whatever that kind of like that dictates the religion, you know, or the dictator, the entity, the supreme being. Nowadays, I tend to look at God in a different aspect because whenever you break down God and look at it principally, right, it's this abstract entity. It's the only thing that lives in the abstract, but our belief in it makes it have effects on the real world. So kind of like what Tiffany was saying, there are other gods in that aspect that these things that are strictly just abstract concepts but have real life effects for the simple fact that we believe in them. For a few examples, kind of like race, or maybe like money, or maybe like politics, or any ideology for that matter, that's a complete abstract of the mind. But since we put our faith in it, we willing to kill over it, fight over it, whatever the case may be, live by it. So these days in my mind, man, I'm just breaking down looking at all these fictitious entities, right? These different gods, and just understanding that, you know, they don't really have no power, and it's us giving them the power. All these anthropomorphic things that we put in these, you know, human characteristics in, are these things that we put in our faith in, our belief in, and it's have a hold on us. You know, and we don't even know that we giving it the power, and we think it has some type of power in and of itself. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation, and I really hope that, you know, people can start looking at it that way. You know, these abstract things that we think, you know, exist, but they really don't.
Can I ask you a question real quick, due diligence?
Sure.
I mean, in all earnestness, are you going to burn your money now since it has no power?
So the way that you said that, I want you to understand what I said, right?
I didn't. Yeah, I'm sure.
I didn't say that if you believe that it has power, then it does, right?
Okay.
Because it's the belief in money that what makes it real. Do you understand that money is a physical representation of something that's abstract, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't exist in reality. So we made the dollar to represent money from the abstract. So we brought something from the abstract into the physical form.
Okay.
And the fact that we believe in it and we use it as a medium to purchase and have buying power, that's the power that we give to it. Now, if we all believe that it didn't have that power, then it wouldn't. Do you agree to that?
Yeah, fundamentally I do. But do you also believe, though, that then God is as real as money?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, these are great points, guys. This is a wonderful discussion.
So everybody else believe that?
Yeah,
Sabio,
I agree 100%.
No, I'm saying Sabio, Cedric, you guys believe that God is as real as money?
Wally, go ahead, James. Can you expound on it? Because you said you agree 100%.
I do.
No.
So an example I was thinking of is authority itself, right? As authority is a game that we play that we mutually agree on to say that there's something called authority and we're all going to recognize it. We do that for practical reasons because we get practical benefits in terms of being able to structure society and have a consequence system in place for people that violate us. But, you know, it's that mutual agreement to treat authority as a real thing that allows it to become real and how it functions in our life.
I will agree with that 100%. And that's why I'm studying hierarchy right now. I like whenever you made that point. So I look at hierarchy and you look at God, right? He's the top of the hierarchy. And then you look at the political system, right? And then we have a hierarchy. We have all these different hierarchies. And I'm examining where this power comes from and if power and authority is real. And like you said, it's really not. So the question then becomes, is hierarchy really necessary? You know, and can we structure ourselves in a different way? And I think that we can, but I think the fact that hierarchy exists, people is manipulating us through hierarchy, right? And giving us these ideologies around hierarchy so we accept it on our own, you know what I mean? Instead of looking through the bullshit and being like, hold on, this is really a power struggle game. And they giving us ideology to believe with this hierarchy instead of people being, you know, more socialist or whatever the case may be, egalitarian or whatever have you, you know?
Yeah, dominance hierarchies are a big problem for humanity. It for a while it served our ancestors in an important way, but I do believe that it's past time for us to outgrow the dependence on that kind of a power structure, and for us to be able to find ways that are more equitable.
So here's the thing. Let me say one more thing, and I'm gonna jump out of here. So the thing is, they use things like God to verify it, right? Because if you don't have a hierarchy, which means in essence a supreme power, which is God, then they try to throw in, you know, like morality and all that goes out the window, which I don't think is the case, but it's a great argument and people fall for it all the time. And then when you take out God, it goes to politics. Well, if you don't have a hierarchy, people that has authority, then it's going to be anarchy, which means chaos. And I don't think that's the case either.
Yeah, I think both of you guys are making some good points, but isn't the fundamental difference between when we talk about God versus money, as an example, is that God is
I agree.
philosophical. God is philosophical. It's a philosophical discussion versus money being good or bad, right or wrong. It's tangible. It's real.
Yes, with money, money is a physical thing, and what we attribute to it is a value judgment, and
Correct.
that is based on different systems. However, when we talk about God, God is a philosophical concept. I would put God within the same realm of fairies and dragons.
Knew you're gonna go that route, but anyway,
No, that's actually not true. That's actually not true. We have like I said, and maybe James can expound better. We have a physical representation of something that's abstract. That doesn't make it real, right? That you have money in your hand, but the concept of money is really abstract. It's really accounting or a ledger. It's
It is.
just
Yes, we agree.
Yeah,
That's
we
something
agree that
we attribute, we assign a value to this thing
he's
based
saying that's
on
what
an
they do with God.
arbitrary concept.
He's saying
It
that's what
is
we do with
not,
God.
it is, you cannot equate it to the philosophical concept of God.
yeah,
There is
why.
no unified, there is no way to unify what individual conceptualize of God, because it is purely imaginary. Whereas money, we have a unified and collective understanding of what it is.
we
So
may have philosophical discussions around economics, as an
Yeah.
example, but we don't have philosophical discussions around money per se. We have philosophical discussions around God, and they don't equate in terms of the discussion that we're having today. If you were talking specifically about economics, then I think I could understand that better. But to say
well,
money and God are equated on a philosophical level, I don't, I can't make
well,
that connection, and that's not your fault. That's my fault.
well, it just depends because that's a question of category, right? Because you categorize one abstract entity in religion and put the other abstract entity in philosophy, which to me, an abstract entity is an abstract entity. I don't care how you categorize it, but the principle of it is both. They existed in your mind first, and then we put physical representations on earth. I think that's the more important part rather than how you categorize it or talk about.
Yeah, but you could fundamentally say that with just about everything then.
That's not true.
That everything has, if it comes from our mind, it's obviously starts as an abstraction, as an idea, and then we put it into some form. That would be true of. I'm trying to think of somewhere it wouldn't be true. I mean, I can't. I'm drawing a blank, but that's just me. Maybe there are some things,
Yeah, there are
but that's what.
natural things, and then there are man-made things. That's the category that we're really speaking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
Anything that we
money,
think of
I
in our
equate
mind.
money to a car then. It's a utility that we use as a means of exchange, and a car is a utility, a vehicle that we use to get us from point A to point B. Both started as conceptual ideas in the
Right.
imagination of men.
Right. Correct. Yeah, I
So
agree.
let me give you an equivalent of how God and religion is the same thing.
God and
God and
religion is
religion
the
is the
same.
medium in order to get you to heaven, in order to give you morality, in order to do these different type of things that people think that religion does.
I mean, that's
So now
one. That's
we
one. That may
went
be
from
one
God
definition,
to
but
religion.
there are people who are not religious who can be just as moral, just as good as people who are not religious.
Yeah, and you can't supplant God and religion in this context, all right? Because God is this abstract idea that is purely conceptual, whereas money is a physical thing, and value that we give to it is conceptual, but it is rooted in certain fundamentals. So we can all know and understand the value of a particular currency, or how much
Yeah.
we actually have to pay.
Yeah. I can't.
These are defined parameters in which we operate, right? So the abstraction is attributed to a physical thing.
You're absolutely right. We can't go out there and pick up a rock or a stone, go in.
You went out, Ron.
Yeah, you kind of
You went
saying
out,
it
Ron.
backwards, but if you don't get it, you just don't get it because
Yeah, I'm sure.
um
I
Okay.
said I don't.
yeah,
I'm admitting that I don't.
Oh, we can disagree to
yeah,
disagree, bro. We can
Yeah.
have different viewpoints. Like
Yeah.
sometimes
sure.
a person can get it and just disagree. You know, that's just it
I
is.
mean, if you get the fun, the only thing that I would say is, if you agree that money starts as an abstract and then we made it into a physical representation of it on earth, and then you can agree that religion or God is kind of the same thing because we made Jesus the physical representation of God on earth, and then we have crossed all these symbolic things that represent religion. It's really one and the same principally, and if you just disagree, that's fine, but that is completely true.
I get what you're saying. We'll just move forward. Where else we gonna go with it?
I get what you
So let's take a break out, man. Let's hit that cash app, man. Let's take a moment, man. Hit that cash app real quick, man. Show some love, man, to the channel, man, and support of the people, man. We're having a great conversation here, man. And I appreciate the discourse, man. I think it's very healthy, man. But take time out, man. Hit that cash app, show some love, man. Moderators throw it in the chat, man, for the people, man. Also throw the store in there. If you order some hoodies, man, they've been shipped out, man. It should be on your way. Appreciate all the support, man, from everybody, man. Appreciate the Discord. Discourse, healthy discourse is important, man, and what we're talking about. And, I just feel like at times those who don't believe get marginalized, man. Shout out to Sirius B too. Pseudo Killer Official, man. Good to see you pop up on the channel, man. But so I feel like support the things, man, that support you. We support free thought. We even support those who believe. I just think it's important to recognize that at the end of the day, there's a thing that connects us all together, man. And that's food, clothing, and shelter, and those molecules. Ain't no getting around that. So whether you believe in a God or whether you don't, I understand that God comes out of the minds of men and women. We put value on it. It's a word of value. Put value on it. And so, value them daggone resources, man, and show some support, man, with the Cash App, man. Let's see who's gonna be the first one to actually do that. Who will be the first to do that, man? But yeah, so I often wonder, religions, right? They play this game because they know where the rubber meets the road at. For instance, the Catholic Church. You can't even talk about science in the early days without talking about the Catholic Church. You can't talk about science, right, pre-modern times, without talking about the Egyptians and their religious texts. Why is that? Why is it that the Catholic Church needed to fund science and science innovation? Why did they do it? You can't take it away. Was it a religion that made them do it? Was it God to tell them you need to do that? No, I say that fundamental thing that hooks us together, food, clothing, and shelter, forced them. Because you can see people that had science and innovation, it was clearly ahead of those who didn't have it. Church can see that. Seemed to be important, seemed to be part of their power, right? Part of their power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely that. So what about the Muslims? It's a great discussion happening with the House of Wisdom. How do Muslims call you an infidel, but yet would use some of your science innovation? That's what the Muslims did. That's what the Roman Empire did when they conquered you. They didn't burn all your books. They kept those things. How you gonna call me an infidel, but yet use the things that I've invented? I don't believe in your God, so obviously your God didn't help me get that. No, they got this little thing they do. They do things like this. They have a way of reconciling science and infidels. Oh, how do they do that? Let me read this. It says, Islam teaches God created the universe and everything in it. See how I hear it? It say, and this includes all natural laws that govern the world. Whether a person is a believer or not, here you go, they are using the same natural laws and resources created by God. Therefore, scientific discovery, whether made by Muslim or non-Muslims, are seen as insights into God's creation. For example, if a non-Muslim scientific discovers a new aspect of the natural world, new law of physics or biology process, Muslims may see this as uncovering a part of God's creation that has previously been unknown. It's viewed as part of the human discovery, not as something inherently separate from divine will. You see the trickology they play. Let me translate that for you. What they're basically saying is, let me look the other way because we need that. We will put God aside and find all kind of rational or irrational ways to make it seem like they ain't doing what they really doing. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I always look at religion with a side eye. Because even the Catholics, they put people on house arrest. When they went too far with the science and started acting like it wasn't a heaven and it was outside of that, man, sometimes you were sentenced to death. Sometimes they wouldn't let you out. We know the scientists that they did this to. They're innumerable. Very interesting in how religious people will do. Anybody want to add something to that?
No, I was just going to say testify.
I can add to it.
Go ahead, Dan.
So it's because science breeds power. Science breeds technology. And at the time, the church was the power. So of course, they want to have their thumb on top of science, right? Because it breeds power. And also, if the authority is coming from the church by way of God, supposedly, but of course I'm going to have my thumb on science and technology because you can come across something that's powerful. And as the church, as the power, I need that because you don't want anything to trump you. So it's really about power struggles and hierarchy. They trying to stay in power so they can project to the people. It's all about God and religion, but at the end of the day, they were ruling. You know what I'm saying? So
I want to reiterate the point and the matter of fact that we are in a space in today's day and age where I can be openly an atheist. I, for the first time in modern history, we can actually openly counter the rhetoric and the arguments being made, and to claim that doing that is somehow attacking or trying to bring down. It is with logic and reason that ideas are defeated. None of us here hold to Thor as the god of thunder, right? None of us hold here to any god of rain. And this all came about through engaging in these conversations, and those that were persecuted to allow me this space. I don't feel anyone has the right to take away that voice or feel persecuted when flawed ideas are being challenged. You need to step up to the plate and then address these claims or these arguments that challenge your position. That would be the genuine thing to do.
Okay, I want to say this. When we look at we get back to America, and the people that decided to separate religion, right? Church, right? Separate church from state. Were those individuals atheists?
I think the leaders of that were
No.
deists, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, they weren't atheists. They were deists.
Right. So would you
Like
say
who?
that-
Whoa. Like who?
Like Thomas Jefferson.
Pick one.
Benjamin Franklin.
No.
The Constitution.
No.
Yeah. So I would
That's a
say
mistake
that,
people try to make. No.
that the America that we live in now came out of the mind that had a religious balance. Would you think that would be true or accurate or inaccurate?
Say it came out of the mind of realizing that damn, mess up the whole damn country.
Incorrect.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, hold on, yo. I know I believe in.
How is that incorrect? So okay, so
I just said it.
Incorrect. James, how do you feel about that statement? Was it?
Nah,
correct?
hold on. For James, let me say
Pass it
this.
around.
It came out of the minds to say, yo, religion is wild. They knew it. They were like, yo, we just went through all this. It's called, yo, they fought the 100-year war of religion. Yo, listen, bro, Europe was wild with war. Religious persecution.
Yeah.
They were saying this is crazy. They said,
they were trying to get away from
a
it.
stable government like that. They said, we will not have this fight between the priesthood and Russia. One of my favorite studies, right? The first Tsar of Russia, first thing he do is he put a tax on the priesthood. Look, if you cut your beards or pay the tax, I'm gonna move you out of power over here. Come on, yo, you got the religion and the priesthood get wild sometimes, bro. I'm not in them. That was a whole religious fight
that the atheists brought about in Russia. Let's get back.
No, man, that's not my point. My point was, it's not until Russia. Hold on, it's not until Russia took away some of the power of the priesthood is when they went into science innovation, and that was because of the first Tsar, Peter the God daggone Great. All jokes aside, bro.
Get back
Peter
to
the Great.
And
hold on. So you changing my discourse. What I'm saying is that the founding fathers of this country, they call them the founding fathers, wasn't my father, but they call them the founding fathers, right? They came from a wild environment. They was like, that's not going to work over here. We want everybody to believe freely on what they believe in. See, like atheists, whatever it is, they understood that. And I'm saying, so you were saying, was that balance between religion?
I'm saying when
that's what he said.
That was get religion out of there, bro.
That's what that was.
The people that
wasn't balance, that was get religion out of the key stuff,
right? Coming from the age of reason and the Enlightenment, right? These were people that were able to balance religious ideas with science. They knew. I forgot the thing that I was supposed to use, where it was God can do anything. I forgot. I can't remember the phrase right now. Something I can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, they saw, they put a limitation on what we can achieve with God and what God cannot do. Right. So they was able to get a balance and say, when it comes to matters of this, God. But when it comes to science and matter of technology like that, we're going to use our work and knowledge. So those people were balanced in their concept. So you can say the country
I don't say
and
that.
this position that we're in now is because of the balance
don't believe
between.
that.
And I put it as agnostic. I mean,
believe
it's
that.
So can I say what they said specifically? Because you can look at it.
go ahead. Go ahead. Just say
You
it.
can look at it that way, but all they really said was, here in America, you gonna you free to worship whatever God you want to. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to look at that as religious balance, but at the same time they were trying to get away from the power of the church at the same time. They didn't want people to be persecuted because of what they believed in and stuff like that. Now I don't know if that's religious balance, but then what Trump religion was law. It went to a law instead of religion. You know what I mean? They replace religion with law.
No, what I'm saying is that on the money it says in God, it still says in God we trust.
But we
When the
talking
president,
about
when the
the
No,
president,
y'all
ideology and the
messing it
politics.
up. It wasn't initially.
Can I-
Hold on, it was not initially on the money. You made that up.
Yeah,
They
But
put
that
it
don't
on
have
there later
nothing to do
on.
with nothing.
it
Hold on,
That
was.
they
don't
put
have
it on there
nothing to
later
do with
on.
nothing.
No, they put it on there later on because they were like, we don't want y'all to think we atheists.
yeah.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
Can
that
I-
it was initially on the money. I
Put it on
said
there.
on the money it says in God we trust, right?
Yeah.
When a president,
Not
when
at
Donald
first,
Trump,
bro. Not at
when
first,
you
bro.
go
Not at
to
first.
court, you swear on the Bible. When Trump
Nah, it's
is
not.
inaugurated, when Trump becomes inaugurated as president, goes
Yeah.
inauguration, he gonna do what? He gonna put his
It's a
hand on that
symbolic
Bible.
gesture, man.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
it. We're not
Can I-
crazy.
Can
Yeah.
Come
I,
on, we're smarter than that. You don't
Yeah.
give me. Let me say
Yeah.
my.
Maybe I
Let me
can make
make my
another
point.
example.
Symbolic,
Hold
but
on,
we
hold
ain't
on,
had
Ron.
it's symbolic, but we ain't had an atheist president yet.
No, hold on. No, you're right.
What a
So,
symbolic.
so let me make my point. So be quiet for a minute, please, sir. You're messing me up.
Yes, sir.
You're making me think about all kind of stuff when you do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's how you know it's not a balance, though, because you should be able to have a atheist president. You should be able to have that, right? But since it's not balanced, like I've been trying to say, then you will never have that. Now, the forefathers of this country wasn't trying to bring some type of balance. They knew it would never be balanced if you let the religious people run this joint. They understood that. As a matter of fact, we just started the foolery of not having scientifically literate presidents. But back when we was fighting to get to the moon, right? The presidents had to be his campaign had to be ran off for science. Now these days you can spruce pseudoism, so that's actually showing how the country is going downhill. That science always was at the forefront in America, bro. The president, you would have a political death if you went against science. I'm telling you, you had to promote science, bro, because it was the next frontier. All the above. Now all of a sudden that has changed, and I surmise after this anti-scientific rhetoric and promotion of nonsense starts to occur in America within the next 4 years, I surmise that science is going to be on the rise again. Sometimes you got to take your lips. I want to talk about Bruno real quick. Do we know who Bruno is? Does anybody know who Bruno is?
Bruno Mars is a great musician, man.
we don't know.
Nice
Bruno. He
Great
was
entertainer.
executed in February 17th, 1600 in Rome under the orders of the Roman Catholic Church. Who the hell is Bruno? I'm going to tell you who Bruno was. Remember I talked about it earlier? Bruno was the one that actually, he was a philosopher, mathematician, an astronomer. He promoted the idea of the infinite universe. You remember that?
No, I never heard of it.
And a heliocentric. So he went too far. They was like, wait a minute, what do you mean an infinite? No, that's a heaven. He was like, no, it's infinite. You can see it on Neil deGrasse Tyson's show. What's the name of his show? James, I know y'all know what's the name of the show, y'all. Used to come on.
I'm sorry.
Cosmos. Remember that episode about Bruno? How they killed Bruno, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
They killed Bruno.
Bruno should have read the room. He should have read the room.
I just want to piggyback off of what you're saying.
Bruno didn't read the room.
Yeah.
Most of the judges at all time low.
Don't say it, Bruno.
Yeah.
He was like, no, he had like some dream. It was a certain that was crazy. They killed Bruno, yo.
But what about this example though? You think about in the in the
Hold on,
1700s.
freeze that real quick. Hey, shout out, man. Shout out to that Cash App, man. Appreciate you there, Mr. Brendan, man. That's some love right there, bro. Always do your part, man. Well, go ahead. What about Bruno now?
No, not Bruno, but in the 1700s, going back to Europe, you think about the great scientists like Kepler and Galileo,
Yeah, they house
Copernicus.
arrest them, yo. What you
Yeah,
talking about?
Copernicus,
They house
Newton.
arrest them.
Newton. Let me make my point.
Yeah, what's
These
your point?
were these were great scientists who also advanced the knowledge
Copernicus.
of. I mean, they were religious people who advanced the knowledge of science. They so so to my point though is that science and religion can coexist and actually be let's say complementary of one another. These guys that I just named, these scientists that I just named, they advanced science. Now, sometimes they got in trouble with the church for sure. There's no doubt about it. They got in trouble with the church, but yet over time, their ideas flourished and they prevailed. They didn't.
They had no
They,
choice,
they,
yo.
they didn't throw away. They didn't throw away their science.
What?
I'm sorry.
They did.
I'm sorry. They didn't throw away their religion. They kept their religion, but yet they were still advancing science. So
You say that to say what?
Yeah, what you saying? Yo, they
yeah,
paid the
I'm
price
saying
for
that
that.
you can't that you can't say that that religion is at the mercy. I'm
Huh?
sorry, science is at the mercy of religion. You can't say these things.
What?
Who said that?
Who would
This is
That
what I'm
make
saying.
such
religion
a
is at the
claim?
mercy. Said it again, Ron.
Yeah,
And big up the Malcolm, man. Appreciate
yeah. You
that
can't say
support.
that. Yeah, you can't say that religion is that. I'm sorry, science is at the mercy of religion. You can't say that. You're saying that the religious people, that the popes and these guys were trying to squash science.
It depended on what it was they figured out. If you say the universe was infinite and messed up the whole heaven thing, because remember heaven was above, right?
Yeah,
And they said it was infinite.
that was
Yeah,
blasphemous.
you was heretic.
Heresy.
Yeah, they said you was heresy, bro. You tripping. You got
Yeah,
Copernicus. Copernicus, he talked about the heliocentric model. Remember that?
yeah.
And they was like, wait, whoa. It went against you. The geocentric thing that they had going on, bro. So yeah. They put them in condemnation, yo. Like I'm telling you, bro. So we just need if you just study the history of science, man, it's always a fight. Like right now, there's a thing called global warming, bro. All right. And so what would stop you from thinking that it's global warming? Well, it's in God's plan. All the nonsense, bro. So yeah, religious thinking can get us in trouble. I think the religious thinking needs to be balanced, not the science. See, that's why I'm like when they say that. I'm saying it's always the religious thinking that has to be balanced out, not science. Science is here to help humanity. That's what it is. That's what science is for, to learn about the natural world. Now, whether you misuse that or not, that's something different. There's legislation and all that. Religious thinking can go straight off the rails. Shall I bring you the Salem witch hunts? Shall we talk about that? Let's
But
talk
what
about
about
the Salem witch.
eugenics?
What? That was pseudoscience. That wasn't science.
No, but they were using
It wasn't science. It was pseudoscience.
it was under their
It wasn't
ideas
science.
that there were
It wasn't science.
superior genes.
Yeah, that wasn't
They're
science though, bro.
superior.
You can't use
Yeah.
something that's not
I
science.
think
That's
Uh,
wild.
I think that religion, how it may fit into the category of bad ideas, and I think that even if you remove religion, humans will still just keep creating bad ideas and still
yeah, of
doing
course.
harm. Like religion is just what we use now, but as soon as you take away religion, we'll make something else up. We'll create something else.
Mm.
We'll be just as destructive as we were. And
Say
matter of
humans
fact, the
make
new
bad
stuff might be worse.
ideas. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know if I completely agree with that. I mean, there's some merit to that, but at the same time, organized moral authoritarian religions incentivize injustice, right? They take a lot of people that would normally be peaceful and agreeable and reasonable, and they say, no, stop being peaceful, agreeable, and reasonable, because we got some people you're supposed to hate. We got some business we want you to be up to, right? So religion does make us worse when it's an authoritarian, type of a religion.
Yeah,
Right.
it can. But then if you look at, I'll go to Africa in the war in Rwanda, and you see a brutal war go down, absent of religion, just bad ideas.
Well,
Just
sure.
the idea you got two groups of people which they pretty much say are genetically related, who have a big war and they get to murder each other based on the concept that they're one's Hutu and one's Tutsi. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And basically what sprang out of, basically, if you dig down deep into it, it came out of famine because of the farming thing that they had. And then once the farming thing had, like, people are going to, when times are tough, people turn on themselves. You feel me? And they took those times of famine. So I get what you're saying. That's literally what you're saying too. But I just think that,
let me speak to what you said though.
I just think that we'll do some bad shit. That's just who we are as people. It's our human nature.
I think you what you said was two things that's the same thing. You said if religion is a bad idea, well, if religion wouldn't exist, bad ideas would still exist. But the point that I came in on was saying that ideology can be considered a god too. So I agree with you, but religion is a bad idea, and bad ideas exist. But to me, those are two of the same thing.
No.
You know
I'm
what
not
I'm
saying
saying?
religion. Don't put me on that. I'm not saying religion is bad. They're gonna get me on record. Like, Sosa's not saying religion is
No,
bad.
I'm not saying that you saying that. I'm saying that
Yeah.
because
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
because essentially I was talking about ideology can be a god, which can be a bad idea. So but the thing is, at the end of the day, is like, it's all a fight about ideas, like who ideas is going to rule the world. And that's essentially what man's, purpose is, or purpose have been. Like, are you going to be able to push your idea through? And is your idea good enough? And I think that us as men, we need to really realize that, whether it be religion, whether it be politics, however you want to categorize it, but it's really, whose philosophy is going to rule the world. And that's where we're really at.
That's why I hold the position of true justified belief and the parameters in which those are established. Because bad
Hold
ideas.
on, Cedric. You said true justified belief. What is that? Can you qualify that?
That is a philosophical position on the acquisition of knowledge, how you acquire knowledge.
What does it mean?
It means the methods by which knowledge is acquired.
That's epistemology.
It is within the realm of epistemology, but it is how you justify your beliefs within the realm of philosophy. How do I claim to know what I know? Right? And it is justified true beliefs. The classical definition of knowledge, dating back to Plato, that is, knowledge is a belief that is both true and justified. So, belief, a person must hold a belief that is proportion, that is proportion, and that its proposition is true. Truth, the belief must correspond to reality. It must be factually correct. Justification, the person must have good reason, evidence, or logical grounds for holding that belief. To avoid having false belief, which can equate to bad ideas, I hold a worldview of true justified beliefs. That's why my foundation is skepticism. You need empiricism. You need a logical framework for me to engage with your argument.
So check it out. Let me respond to that. Please let me respond to that.
Let me just say it though. So we gotta we'll have more conversation around that in the Discord. Like me, you, and Mark need to get to a room.
Yeah.
Let me respond to what Cedric said.
Freeze it for a minute.
Oh, please let me get in on that.
You're gonna get in. I want to always throw something in the conversation. we have a website right here, Princeton. All right, I'm gonna put it in here for y'all. Okay. And talking about religion is wild. It was the religious people that used religion to draw a line down the damn map. Are y'all all familiar with this? It's called demarcation line. Y'all see those lines? Colonial demarcation lines between Castile and Spain and Portugal in the 15th and 16th century. Okay. The dotted line, the line of Pope Alexander VI, Bull Interior, 1493. The solid purple line, the Treaty of Tordesillas, 1494. The green one, the Treaty of Saragossa, 1529. Simply put, everything on this side of the line, America, South America, is there for your discovery, Christians. And anybody that's not a Christian, you can enslave them and bring them to Christ. Am I making this up? The other side of the line, Africa and all the rest of that, belongs to you. This is decreed by Alexander the damn Sixth. Are we sitting up here really having this conversation here? Show me the line that atheists put in play. It's the religious ideas that always need to be balanced and checked by science and science innovation. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It was the theory of Charles Darwin, right, to help fight back scientific racism. I say this all the time. People look at me and laugh and throw tomatoes. Throw tomatoes at you, because it was him that said, as he circumnavigated the globe in his scientific innovation, when he took that trip around the globe, he started to see people of color. He started seeing indigenous tribes. And he was like, man, wow. If you teach them the language, they can learn anything. It's hard for us to really see what Charles Darwin saw. You would actually have to go to some of them indigenous tribes, you know what I'm saying? Like they got them stowed away where you can't even meet them now. That's what Charles Darwin ran into. They ran to these indigenous tribes. A lot of them didn't have on clothes. Early Europeans was running the tribes, didn't have on clothes and stuff like that. They said it was infidels. That's what the Muslims said. They said they was, and they didn't have comprehension. Said they was less humans based off the way they was dressed, based off of their religious practices, ladies and gentlemen. They lied and said they ate people. They did all kind of stuff. They food shamed them, right? But this was based off their religious ideology. And it was Charles Darwin that said, whoa, hold on. He didn't even come to the United States because of their stance in slavery. He was like, wait a minute. These people are just as intelligent as everybody else. They just don't know your language. Once you teach them the language, they can learn like everybody can learn. He made that distinction against the eugenics, right? Against the pseudoscientific communities that claimed that the brown races was just ignorant. So, yeah, it's always science has to check religious thinking to balance everything out. Not the other way around, ladies and gentlemen. And see, that's what get me when people try to act like it's religious people, you know what I'm saying, they bring the balance. No, it's the scientifically inclined people, right, that bring the balance to the world. Where would we be without science? Go ahead, due diligence. Just wanted to make that point.
So you said your position is true, justified belief. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be contentious with you, and I don't want you to think I'm being disrespectful. So
this is philosophical discussion. We can have
it. Okay. And so I'm gonna say that's mumbo jumbo, because whenever you say true, justified belief, all that stuff is subjective, it's relative. So to make it a position, when you say truth, that's personal. It's subjective. Whenever you say belief, that's personal. It's subjective. Whenever you say justified, it's personal and subjective. So don't none of that shit mean nothing. It sound pretty, but you really didn't say nothing.
You have to look it up in terms of the philosophical argument, due diligence.
Yeah,
I'm breaking down the terms. You feel me? Because we're dealing with the terms. I know how to.
It's a title.
So would you expound on it? Because I know what. Expound on it.
So you have a claim. You have a claim, right? So
Correct.
I must believe the proposition, right? So you hold a claim, and now I'm going to go through the process. Now, does it correspond to reality? Is it factual? Is there a there? Now, do I have good reason? What is the evidence? What are the logical grounds? It is not arbitrary. So you do not hold to a particular position or proposition without corroborating evidence to support it. And the evidence to support the claim is based on the ontology of the claim. What is the evidence you would require to believe that I have a dog versus I have a dragon?
So let me ask you this. I hear what you're saying, and it makes sense, but to make that substantial, right, and to make that a principal argument, you do know you have religious people that will hold that same position and will corroborate it with the Bible, will corroborate it with scripture, will corroborate it with miracles, because along those veins, you stand a belief, a truth, a justified, which is all subjective.
So
I'm sorry.
when you talk about evidence, when you talk about logical grounds, right? When you talk about justification, you are going to examine the so-called evidence, right? And again, do they hold logical grounds? Can't use the Bible to support the claim. That's circular reasoning, etc., etc. So within the philosophical realm, you would examine the arguments they have before you accept the claim.
You want to say something, James?
No, you guys are doing fine. I'm sorry. He actually finished the thought I was gonna add. So,
but the question I want to say something. Big up everybody in the room. The quote "true, justifiable." When was it said? Because sometimes words we interpret them in 2020, and they were quoted in 1800.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a good conversation to have, but we're gonna go on. We're gonna have to go off in tangent on it because even that's challenging itself. Like we'll be here today.
I mean, today, for in terms of philosophy.
No, what am I saying? That justifiable means something different. 20 years, justifiable means something different. 100 years ago, justifiable could mean that is it testable, is it provable? Because that's what justifiable mean then.
Right.
So
that's the point that I'm making.
It's basically saying that a belief that knowledge is a belief that is both true and supported by adequate evidence. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
That's all it's saying. So like if you see a robin outside your window and the robin has a red breast, and you've seen robins before and they have red breasts, and you go outside and it's a robin, that's true justified belief.
I would say that's a fact. I wouldn't call that true justified belief. I would just say that's a fact.
No, it's not.
Yes, but within true justified belief, you have facts. That's one of the components. Truth. The belief must correspond to reality. It must be factually correct. That's a fact.
You can't know something. You can't have knowledge of something that's false.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. That was crazy.
Know. That's what I'm saying. That's why we gotta have. That's a separate conversation. You got to understand that part of the conversation to really go in. You can't know something that's false. Basically,
yes, you can.
That's just logic.
So let me read this.
That's in logic.
That's
knowledge.
So we talked there was a statement made, Ron.
Eugenics.
Yeah, how it was scientific, right? So what are eugenics and scientific racism? Eugenics and scientifically is the scientifically erroneous and immoral theory of racial improvement and planned breeding, which gained popularity during the early 20th century. Eugenics worldwide believed that they could perfect human beings and eliminate the so-called social ills through genetics and heredity. They believed the use of methods such as involuntary sterilization, segregation, and social exclusion would rid society of individuals deemed by them to be unfit. And they use racialized terms like black, right? If you was black, it was certain jobs you couldn't hold. One drop rule. Now, scientific racism. is ideological is an ideology that appropriates the methods and legitimacy of science to argue for superiority of white Europeans and the inferiority of non-white people whose social and economic status have been historically marginalized, like eugenics. Scientific racism grew out of the misappropriation of evolutionary advances in medicine, anatomy, statistics during the 18th and 19th century. Charles Darwin's theory of evolutionary thought through the mechanisms of natural selection. Let me read this again. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution through the mechanisms of natural selection. George Mendel's laws of inheritance. Eugenics theories and scientific racism drew support from contemporary, what is that? Who is that? Oh, man. Where we at?
Xenophobia.
Yeah, xenophobia. Oh, man, that was a good one. Anti-Semitism, sexism, colonialism, imperialism, as well as justifications for slavery, particularly in the United States. Xenophobia. We know what that is. So, yeah, man, look. So it's important. Religion didn't get a person to understand that. It was the understanding of the natural world that got them to see that. Now, whether they, still want to hold those things as being true or not, that's on the individual. But science has actually spoken. The natural world has spoken. I just want to make that point. Yeah, there you go, Ron, because you mischaracterized it, brother.
No, I appreciate you offering the definition, but doesn't it also prove the point, though, that science taken to its extremes is really no better than religion taken to its extremes?
You mean pseudoscience?
Well, even science. I mean, even science taken to an extreme can be detrimental to a society.
How? You mean the misuse of science?
Well,
I agree.
That's what
I agree.
At least to misuse. Yes, at least to misuse.
All right, that's something different. It's not science, though.
Well, I'm not science. I can say that about religion.
Science is neutral,
religion
but the tool is how you wield it.
Yeah, religion is neutral. It's how you use it, right?
No, religion is not neutral. Religion definitely has a motive and a projection.
It's not neutral.
It has a direction.
Because Jesus Christ is God. You're not neutral to nobody else. You're saying that that's the God of everybody. You can read the book. In the beginning, God, what God? Yahweh, not Kulu. It's not the beginning. He's a pagan. It's not real.
I understand, but isn't the same idea when what was his name? Charles Murray wrote the book about the bell curve.
Charles Murray.
When he wrote the book The Bell Curve, and said that we black people, not just in this country, but I mean worldwide.
What are you saying? That didn't fly.
Had less
it was bogus science, though, is what I keep trying to tell you.
I'm saying he took it to the extreme.
No, he didn't actually.
It was his belief. He took it to the extreme. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
anything bogus can be bad.
He's saying that every black person on this panel has a 15-point, one standard deviation lower IQ than white people on average. He said that he had numbers to back it up.
He didn't actually.
Okay.
Unc agree with you that pseudoscience is bad.
Pseudoscience.
But he had science. These were tests.
Don't you get the difference, Joe? You can miss.
It was bogus.
The tests were bogus.
I don't put any trust in those tests.
Yeah, the tests were bogus. You're saying the tests these are tests that are used universally. I'm not. I don't agree with them either. I'm just saying.
What?
That these numbers.
We doing that.
Doing what? What am I doing?
On, man. Come on, bro.
What?
So it reminds me. That reminds me of a skit from Good Times. I don't know who used to watch that show.
I did.
We all did. Yeah, we all watched it. Yeah.
So
that's an IQ test right
there. There was a skit about that, right? About the IQ tests.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think it was Michael. And he purposely did bad on it or something.
We know that shit is biased.
Yeah, he pointed out how biased it was because they used certain words and certain concepts in the test that would only be familiar to people from a certain culture.
Yeah, but let's throw out the culturally biased questions. Let's talk about mathematics. They still show that there was still a difference. There still was a statistically significant difference.
Well, but
Let me
Because the
statistically,
question can
freeze.
be biased
Freeze.
also.
Hold on, everybody
Matt
freeze.
says-
Look, this is a source up show around here. So the question is, did Charles Murray produce pseudoscientific work in the bell curve? The answer is yes. Charles Murray, along with Richard Herrnstein, co-authored the book Bell Curve in 1994. His work has been widely criticized for its pseudoscientific claims, particularly regarding race and intelligence. The bell curve suggests that intelligence is largely determined by genetics and that there are differences in IQ between racial groups, with some groups allegedly scoring lower than others. These claims have been heavily criticized by many scholars, psychologists, and sociologists who argue that the books misrepresents research on intelligence, downplays the role of environmental factors, and perpetuates racial stereotypes. There you go.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. Now, Serious B thinks you should kick me. So just throwing it out there.
Should kick you out or what?
Yeah, I think so.
Not sure, but I mean, all I'm saying is that the data may be misrepresented and may be obviously misused, but a scientist, I think Murray was a social scientist, I'm not sure, but a scientist took this data and ran with it and said, "Hey, look what I found. Look and this is what this means." And I'm saying, yeah, it's taken to the extremes, and it's no doubt erroneous. But that scientist did the same thing that a religious zealot did for religion on the other side. Did exactly the same thing.
It's a difference, though.
That's false.
It's a
That's
difference, though,
false.
yo.
Okay.
It's really, what the real difference is? You can't check religion, yo, because everybody has their own interpretations, and this is right, and Jesus is either God or is not in some religions. He either came to the United States in some forms Christianity, some forms it didn't, and all kind of stuff. With science, you can actually run those tests. And so, as he pseudoscientifically interpreted that data, yo, other scientists could run that and see that it was misinterpreted and was wrong, bro. That's the clear difference. There is no scientific nothing in religion. It is what you say it is. So that's the difference. That's the fundamental difference between science and religion. We have to make that distinction. It's not the same.
There are people who check religion.
How?
But by saying that, I mean, there are Christians who are not fundamentalists.
No, but how do you check the religion? How do you say that woman didn't come out of the rib of a man? How do you check that? You can't.
No, but
it's part of the religion. You tear down religion.
You cooking tonight, huh?
No.
How can you check Charles Dawes? I mean, how can you check Murray's interpretation of the information he was putting out? You can. That's all I'm saying. There's no checks and balances in religion. It's just the mind, the human mind, and what he think. That's why you can bring Jesus Christ from Palestine and Judea, right? Rise him from the dead and bring him to America and have one of the largest religions, right? Called the Mormons, brother. You couldn't have did that in science.
I know. Do you believe that every Christian literally believes that Jesus is the Son of God?
Yes, it has to be. From
you gotta be the Son of God to be a Christian, yo.
They don't. They're Christians who don't.
Yes, you do.
They're not Christian.
They say they're not Christians, then, yo. Come on, yo.
By the definition of the word Christian,
yeah, you gotta be. Come on,
believe
yo.
in Christ.
Yeah, you gotta be the son. Some say he's the Son of God and God. Some say both. Some say just the Son of God.
Yeah, you have to be.
Yeah, you can't be a Christian. You somebody else.
Christ died for your sin. Christ died for your sin. It has to be a fundamental part.
You didn't read it. So God so loved the world.
Yeah.
That he gave his only begotten Son.
Have you never read the Creed from the Catholic?
In the beginning,
the Apostle Creed,
where it was with God.
I believe
where it was
in Jesus
God.
Christ,
all things came through Christ. You didn't know that?
In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. All things come through God.
Yeah, come on, man. Can't change that, bro.
You didn't have people, but you had a word.
Ow! The logos. How? Whatever. Anyway, man, we had a powerful show, man. Man, see you, Juju. Got some of the pseudo killers official in there, man. Good to see y'all, Chilembe, man. You know, we will be kicking it next week. Some of the pseudo killers gonna be back rocking on the pseudo killer channel, man. It's time to get that in. Go back over some of the shows we did, clear it up there. Juju, Sosa, Series B. Any mistakes, we will be fact checking anything we do, right? Because that's what we do. We don't want to make mistakes and keep the mistakes out there. All right, we don't want to do that. We want to keep a scientific mind. Why we have tolerance of those in a religions is obvious, because I don't make your religion better than other people's religion. I don't think your God is no better than anybody else's God. We read books like this. Over 2,500 deities of the world. Is anyone better than ever? I don't know. What's my favorite one? This is my favorite one right here. Look, this is my favorite. Look, read my favorite God right here. This is my favorite. Look, here you go. That's coming right here. And my favorite God is the God of voodoo. Hold on, let me get that. That's my favorite God. Let me read that for you. I think every show I'm read. I'm gonna got a list of my favorite gods. I think I gotta read it up for y'all, man, and keep it going. That's another good one for me. Yeah, that's South African God. South African God. Okay. definitely a crowd favorite. I like the way you say it, right? But this is definitely my favorite God. Right here you go. VA. Hold on. Let me find it. I'm gonna have to highlight this. I don't got my favorite God highlighted. VOVAVEI. Hold on, getting there. Let me see. AB.
Those are myths.
I think
Those
Jesus
are
Christ
myths.
and sprinkle something in my eyes.
No.
Voodoo. Here you go. Voodoo. Collective name of gods from the Benin, West Africa. The origin of the term voodoo. All right. There you go. So, you know, it always got me. I want y'all to think about this till the next show. Why is it when we go into Barnes and Nobles and we go to the religious section and we find traditional religions there? Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism. And then you go to the mythology section and the indigenous religions, right? Say like the Greeks, say like the Romans, the Egyptian religions and stuff like that. They put that in the mythology section. Now I'm confused here. Last time I checked, it would have to be a myth, right? That Moses put a staff and split the daggone Red Sea, that Jesus Christ walked on water, that manna fell from heaven, right? And fed up. How? How is that not a myth? I don't know. It's some kind of games going on. Sosa, you might have the answer for that. You know what I mean? I know you got a good crystal clear answer for it. How is it that intelligent design, right, ain't part of creationism when the person that made it that? I don't know, Ron. One day you're going to have to answer that question. Anyway, man, look, I appreciate everybody coming through, man. It's a good show, man. See how we work these shows? We don't got to argue, man, to kick it, man. Hey, appreciate some of the new listeners. Hey, James, come back through, man. Appreciate you sliding on through, man, and add to the discourse, man. Mr.
You see me over there on Eric, on Derek, on Miss Mission. I'm usually in the chat.
Appreciate everybody coming through, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Appreciate everybody. Due diligence, man. Yeah, appreciate you coming through. Due diligence, man. You as you fight for scientific reasoning, continue to fight. Man, stay away from the daggone pseudoism show. Is bad.
Leave that Black Egypt alone over there, man, with that craziness, man.
Leave that man get the lows.
Leave what I know for due diligence 5 back, man. Shut out Smash Wild, man. I'm out.
Shout out to Smash Scam Wells. He's in here. And the man John Toothpick.
He's scared God. Lying on the glitz.
Bobby Banger from the block, seen it all raw tough. Streets of Baltimore where survival's always rough. Joined the Marines fighting for a life he could save. But back in the hood, he felt like a runaway slave. Started an army, not of guns but of wisdom. I'm a rock squad, truth the anthem, we ain't just a God killer. Bobby Banger on his path for the truth. Empower the people, give them wisdom as the proof. Black power rising, knowledge shines like a light. He's fighting for the future, ready to ignite. hates, but deep in his heart, he knew he had greater fates. From the traps to the lab, he fights ignorance raw, teaching evolution while shaking up the law. The real black atheist is changing the game, waking up minds, never the same. God killer Bobby Banger on his path for the truth, empower the
Man, you listen to the community skeptics, man. Appreciate everybody that came through, man. Make sure y'all support the family channels, man. The pseudo killers, man. Socials world, man. Y'all know what it is, man. With that, we out. Peace.